Full go-to. All right, there we go. I managed to unmute. What's up, folks? Welcome, greetings, happy Saturday, all of that. Thank you, Basehole, for consistent hydration reminders. Cheers. To 269 Blaze bits and whatever else is going on. What is up? Ollie G, Mimic Box, Goaty _ lurkers in chat, VOD viewers, and everybody else. Hope you're all doing well this fine Saturday evening, afternoon, probably morning for some of you. We have gathered here today, of course, to continue our journey through GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo DS. A game I was excited to get started on, and that I have since become excited to finish. Was this probably too hot? Yep. Wait on that for a little bit. What's up, Arcadia? It's an okay game, I guess, but it's I don't know. It's not that exciting. The cutscenes are exciting. Watching Nintendo DS fidelity recreations of, well, not exactly scenes from the film, but I don't know, cutscenes from the Wii game. But you know, with some amount of cinematic flair, it's neat. It's you know, aesthetically inspiring, I think, for me personally anyway. It's a cool look. But as far as the game goes, I don't know. It's pretty rote. I mean, the Wii game was not that exciting either. Like, you know, once we kind of got the hang of things, the aiming, you know, waggle controls were kind of, I mean, they worked, I guess. At the start they didn't really, but I don't feel like they really elevated the game to a particularly noteworthy or interesting experience. There were some of the kind of waggle QTE, you know, things like the final fight with you know, fake Sean Bean, that were, you know, cool. There was, you know, there were some bits of, I don't know, presentation in that game that were at least kind of fun to experience, but I wouldn't really have any desire to go back to that game. And the DS game, unsurprisingly, you know, is kind of a lot of the same, but in just less of everything, which, you know, there's a little bit less spectacle, there's a little bit less refinement, there's a little bit less you know, technically impressive show PC type of stuff. Oh, you know, it's got its fair share for, you know, by its standards, of course, for the DS, but you know, there's just a little bit of less of everything. It's a smaller scope for the game and everything, but that also means that levels aren't as long. There's potentially less tedium, there's less frustrations, you know. You kind of you win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, as far as what unique experience does this game have to offer, you know, it's pretty underwhelming, I guess. I don't know, and I wasn't frankly expecting much, but I also think doing as straight of a port as they could, or you know, as they attempted to, I suppose you could argue, although probably significantly less so by 2010, you could conceivably argue that there was still a novelty to a handheld experience that, you know, sort of replicates the console game experience. But that's not, A, you know, it doesn't make the game better. B, you know, the novelty of that has really pretty, you know, limited mileage. You know, it really can only carry the game so far. I think as far as handheld first-person shooter Bond games that are entirely reliant on the novelty of their own existence to, you know, justify themselves, I think GoldenEye is significantly less miserable of a time compared to Nightfire or GoldenEye Rogue Agent. I would say both of those games were a pain. Even if both of them had moments of, you know, I don't want to call it like, you know, I want to be careful with my superlatives here. You know, they weren't all terrible all the time. And they were kind of bad games in different ways. Nightfire just had like the absurd difficulty balance. Like Nightfire had level design and visual variety and some fun bits. Like the final boss in that game was sick. But it was just a pain to play because the difficulty balance was all fucked, and like it had just the way you had to play it just made it not fun to really engage with. Rogue Agent, you know, it's a adaptation of a game that already had essentially nothing at all going for it. It's just, you know, I liked the DS version of Rogue Agent better than the console one, primarily on account of it being shorter. There was less of it. And I think GoldenEye DS doesn't reach those, I was gonna say heights, I don't know, lows. But there also isn't like much to it. Like I feel like why would I play this game if I wasn't if I wasn't doing this kind of project? What reason would I have? I mean, I guess the you know, the box advertises the 6-player multiplayer. I think there's some kind of a co-op thing, so you know, there could be something there. Obviously, you know, we're not going to get to experience that, so it kind of makes no difference for my assessment. But I think it stands in fairly stark contrast to the handheld games that have been more interesting, which is where they have done totally different things. You know, Quantum of Solace, I think, was kind of cool. Like the vertical book orientation with the touch controls. You know, combat was certainly finicky and it had its annoying moments, no doubt. But it was a fundamentally different experience, and it was a kind of game that wouldn't have been released for consoles at that time. So it justifies its existence in a totally different way. It's just a totally unique presentation of the same broad kind of concepts, and well, even if it's mostly just sort of the basic plot structure of the other game. Silas, you'd think a Scribblenauts aspect would be fun. Draw an elephant to attack the enemy with. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go quite that far. I mean, you could have a a Q branch workshop sim with some kind of like what's it called, Space Team, that a mobile game where you have to like instruct each other on which dials to just, you know, turn and shit. You know, you could have a kind of an interface driven, touch based I don't know, gadget building game. You know, there could be something there, you know, if you want to build something around touch controls. But even just, you know, the phone game for Quantum of Solace, for that matter, just being a 2D side scroller, like, I think there's a real problem with more quote unquote modern handheld games where, like, I think the Vita was just this big example of this, where, you know, sure, there are big games that people enjoy playing on the go. Certainly the Switch and the Steam Deck is proof of that. But with the Vita, like, Sony's kind of whole thing, seemingly, at least in the West, was that, like, finally we're going to bring console games to a handheld format. You know, we're not going to bother with these puny little handheld fake, you know, not real tiny baby games. We're going to have big proper games. Even though obviously even the Vita versions of like Uncharted or whatever were, you know, they were still scaled down, but they were kind of attempting to put the experience that you get from a console game on a handheld. And, you know, that wasn't a completely new idea. Of course, you know, that's kind of what I'm getting at, that a game like GoldenEye on the DS was trying to do just that. And, you know, maybe the checkpoints are a little more generous. Like, maybe it's a slightly more, well, not tailored really, but you know, maybe it makes slightly more concessions to how people are likely to be playing a handheld game in like shorter bursts and what have you. But I think what would have made DS Bond games and Game Boy Advance, whatever, handheld Bond games like more interesting, and I guess what does make them more interesting when they are, is when they are a different type of thing that isn't trying to do what the consoles are doing, especially when the console games themselves are getting like increasingly elaborate. So it's really a shame that the like action side-scroller type Bond games, like what you would consider, I guess, the sort of typical 90s like action platformery type thing, there are very few of those. What's up, Mendo? And fewer still if we don't include mobile games. You know, there's the Game Boy Color World's Not Enough game, which technically has some side-scrolling bits, but it's more of a different thing, and it's a kind of piece of shit game also. There's like the two Sega games, and I guess if you want to count James Bond Jr., like, but then that's kind of it. Like, it's a shame that even on the GBA and DS, there weren't really things like that. There's like the Everything or Nothing that has the kind of isometric action-y thing, which was an okay game. I like that better than some of the other ones. I think in some ways I like it much better than GoldenEye, but it was also like a 2-hour game. Like, it was very short. But hey, you know, it didn't overstay its welcome. What's up, Taserface? Greetings. Thanks for the follow. So yeah, I just think like whenever we play a game that's literally kind of a lesser version of something we've already seen, and it doesn't really offer too much unique on its own, inevitably it's just not going to be the most novel or interesting thing. GoldenEye had like that one moment where you had to close the DS to throw a piece of metal at a door or whatever. It has, you know, the things where you like swipe the card and enter the code. Like those are cool little moments, and I appreciate those. And those are the very brief like glimmers of something. And then the rest of the time, it's a fairly bog standard first-person shooter with great facility hallways, where enemies melt you in like half a second. Yeah, Bissell, you might have to go back and consult the VOD. Unless there's more moments like that in the second half of the game. Not impossible. But that's the thing, like, I don't think GoldenEye is a bad game, but it's not an interesting or very exciting game, I find. And I feel like you know, it was funny last time when I'd been, like, it's been a month since we played the console game, and I'd been, like, itching to finally get started on this to kind of try to pick some of that momentum back up. And as soon as we kind of started playing, I was like, oh man, like I kind of felt the wind just like go out of my sails. And it's just like, oh fuck, this just isn't that. Like, I'd been looking forward to it, but I guess I hadn't really thought about what the game would be like, because it wasn't that I was excited to play the DS GoldenEye game so much as I was excited to get James Bond, you know, rolling again. And it kind of turned into this thing of like, oh fuck, that's right, I have to actually play this now. Knowing that I've played far worse games, it's not that it's a total pain in the ass, but it was that kind of realization that like, oh, okay, gotta get through this, and starting to do a little bit of mental calculus. Like, we don't have many games left. There's like 5 games left or something. But I felt like, man, it's gonna be so good to be done with these like DS games. Like, they've just not been very impressive. We have one more after this, because after GoldenEye, we will be playing Bloodstone for the 360, which I am excited for. Because even if that's going to be uninteresting, I would rather take 360 uninteresting than DS uninteresting. Especially if the DS uninteresting is watered down Wii/360 flavors of uninteresting. But we'll see. And I have no idea what the DS Bloodstone game is like. I would like, so to my knowledge, which is very limited, but it is my belief that the 360 Bloodstone is not a first-person shooter. I suspect it's a bit more, I mean, I don't want to invoke everything or nothing, as though we should expect those kinds of standards. But in terms of visual presentation with a third-person camera and like action-y thing, I think that's kind of more how it's presented. And I suppose, you know, if you can do a first-person camera on the DS, why, you know, no reason to say you couldn't do a third-person camera, or for that matter, that they just turn it into a first-person shooter. But I have some vague recollection in my mind of some DS game that plays in a way that we haven't seen yet, but I could be just misconstruing that and getting it mixed up with Bottom of Solace, I suppose. Anyway, we don't have to worry too much about that at the moment. We'll get there when we get there. Accidentally closed the tab. Well, try to maintain your levels of excitement, I suppose. Because I don't know that the game we're playing today is going to do too much to, you know, to race them to dangerous levels. Anywho, we are heading into the kind of home stretch. You will have the opportunities of extending Games Bond just a tiny little bit. So why don't we hop on over the Bond scene and we'll explain that in a bit more detail. I am, of course, referring to the Q Branch Research Funding Initiative. Basehole has kindly donated 269 Q credits already, with a delightfully generous bit donation, a cheer or whatever they're called. You too could do the same thing, or subscribe, or buy merch, or find some other way of financially supporting me in the channel. If we reach a total of 1,000 credits, which is broadly roughly equivalent to $10 / 1,000 bits, or I don't know, currency conversion is confusing. But a couple of subs, you know, a couple of cheers, that kind of thing. Then we will complete our third daily objective. And once we have completed 10 such daily objectives, we will unlock the next secret mission. And that will be secret mission number 007, which will be investigating, playing through the cancelled Xbox Live Arcade version of Rare's GoldenEye 007. So if you want to either... Oh, there we go. We got some burger bits coming up. And I forgot this delightful music. Man, Burger. What a game. Thank you very much, El Conductor. Appreciate that. Puts us just over 500. So we got several hours to work up the rest. We'll see if we get there. So yeah, that you know, if you want to see me either play a quote-unquote good GoldenEye game, or if you are excited to hear me dunk on you know, a sacred cow, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this game's bad or anything, but I don't hold it in as high regard as some people. Having said that, I think playing through it a second time, being a little more aware of what the game is and how the levels work, I think it's going to be interesting, because I think it will change my perception of certain things in the game. Well, fell sorcerer, thank you very much indeed. Rising to the call of duty by bestowing the stream and Q Branch with 500 barbarian bits. Well, that was easy enough.
Bond train.
All right. Well, I won't say no to that. Thank you very much, Basehole. We now have a limited time to earn exclusive emotes, apparently. Excellent. Well, let me see if I can update this, or I will forget. There we go. 3 daily objectives completed. Now let me also update my chat command so that that will be correct also. I should have a better way of doing this, but that's fine. Let's see. No, that's not the right one. Where are we? Game spawned actions. Branch. Yep, there's the one. 3 out of 10 daily objectives completed. Just double check that this is working correctly. Indeed, yes, that is accurate. Thank you very much for all the generosity. That is greatly appreciated. So there you go. We're roughly 1/3 of the way to making GoldenEye, the Xbox version, happen. But for now, we will resume GoldenEye, the Nintendo DS version. Developed by N-Space for Activision. This handheld adaptation of the Wii remake recreates the missions and gameplay of its console sibling in simplified form with unique touchscreen mechanics and Wi-Fi multiplayer for up to 6 players. A pretty vanilla kind of description of a pretty vanilla kind of game experience, I think. That just about sums it up. See if I can find the game window here. And I think we're about ready to go, wouldn't you guys say? A very svelte intro, but I'm fine with that. I actually, like I said, I'm not so much excited to play this game as I am excited to have it finished. So let's get to it. And also, let's hope saving works. What's up, Em? Greetings. Happy Saturday. I did not make any efforts to make my my layout look any better, but you can catch a glimpse of chat and you can see both screens, so I think we're good. Good enough anyway. And even this music is so like meanderingly generic. It's like halfway putting me to sleep whenever I hear it. It's not even the last of it, because we have the PS3 version of GoldenEye to get to eventually, but thankfully we'll get a little bit of a break before that. Got a few other games in between. So for the record, this game has support for 2 different control schemes. By default, it uses touch controls, where you use the stylus to aim and... I was gonna say aim and shoot, but I think you shoot with the shoulder button, but you aim and then you do whatever else with the stylus too. But you can play with button controls, which allows you to turn and look with the face buttons, aim down sights using the left shoulder button, I see. Thank you very much, Basol. That's I think that's an adequate amount of respect. Thank you very much. So use the L button to aim down sights and the R button to shoot. Now, unfortunately, there are still plenty of functions that require the use of the touch controls, such as switching weapons, reloading, picking up weapons, opening doors, and various other interactions. But in my quick little amount of testing, the stylus aiming controls were very kind of cumbersome to try to utilize with my setup. I'm pretty sure Rogue Agent that we used something like that, or maybe it was the same exact situation where it defaulted to that, but I was able to work around it with button aiming. I honestly don't remember. But I found it to be not very practical. So we just have to do it with this kind of somewhat clunky middle ground. Anyway, let's hit the continue button, and I'm pretty sure I tested this super briefly at the end of the last stream, I think you just literally pop right back into where you were. There's no level select, no nothing, so we'll just get to start where we were. Yep.
I'm coming with you.
No, it's too dangerous. I'll be back.
Right, we got Chipmunk Daniel Craig. Right, so this is the, why are the... I guess, is this some kind of ambient occlusion? I don't know why the light beams are seemingly casting a shadow on the wall. That seems a little strange. But that's right. In narrow spaces, the game runs at 60 FPS, which makes turning speed doubled. That's a cool feature. Ah! It'll be fine. I also just realized that my thumb is a little bit sore because I played a few hours of Tony Hawk 3+4 yesterday, and I was pressing a lot of face buttons. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Any other information we need? I don't know. I think we'll be good. Anyway, I just gotta have my little touch inputs here ready to go. Oh yeah, sometimes when you click something, like, it doesn't work. Now for now, this is the reload button, and I can't reload with a full clip. But you'll see sometimes a button light up and nothing happens, then I have to click it again. That's a serious feature. Hopefully I'll remember how to play. But yeah, this is where we're supposed to find Janus. Oh, make a call. Banner.
On to MI6. I'm inside the compound.
Copy. We're downloading a satellite map.
Also, this is a portable game with voice to dialogue that has no subtitles, which feels quite absurd. But it is what it is, I suppose. This is a window that I probably cannot shoot through without alerting someone. And possibly I won't even hurt him. I don't know. We may have to resort to barrel stealth. Although these barrels don't look that explosive. Okay, so that's a... whatchamacallit? A valve? That will hook anyone who's standing next to it.
I want a realistic James Bond game where he has knee pads over his tucks.
Is that realistic though? Is that what Bond would do? Oh my god. Okay, so it snaps. Okay. Oh, that's right. Aiming is shit too. You can't hit the broadside of a barn for the most part in this game. Otherwise his knees would... I mean, maybe your knees would be. But, I mean... James Bond. Maybe he's got John Wick tuxedos that are, like, mega bulletproof. And they're also kneeling proof. Maybe Q has invented entirely new forms of leather patches for your tweed elbows and knees.
I saw something.
Oh, you didn't. Did I have, like, broken in through here? Yeah, so your accuracy is absolute dog shit, and enemies tend to take weird, like, high number of hits to go down. Tactical knife. Okay, that's new. Weird tactical grip he's got there. I'm not touching anything. That just happens sometimes. I guess you have throwing knives in like one level of N64 GoldenEye, so I cannot aim down sights. I mean, that sort of worked. Oh, that's an alarm thing. Shoot that out. So the stealth can be a little weird and obnoxious, but it's actually not bad. It's more like, as you can see on the map, the level layouts are nicely like small and constrained. And checkpoints are pretty frequent. So it's usually not bad, but it can sometimes feel a little daunting, especially when you get punished really hard for being discovered. I guess the knife was just absorbed by his body, just went straight into his bloodstream. And he still didn't die in one hit, but... You know, if I have to shoot someone with like 12 shotgun shells, you know, one knife and a gunshot, I guess we'll have to accept it. But yeah, the game has a lot of these little scenarios where you kind of...
Somebody said that General Oromo has been assassinated.
There's kind of a prescribed way to get through it with some traps and gimmicks and stuff. Oh, such as... Wait.
You hear something?
That was supposed to land on you, dude.
False alarm. Sector is clear. Someone's here. I saw something. Where are those?
Yeah, he's gonna alarm. Yeah, we're basically... Yeah, look at my health. So when we first had like a stealth segment like that, I figured, all right, okay, I see. Like, we're being punished because we failed the stealth script. But no, that's just like the damage that enemies do, basically.
By one of ours. Does it matter? Whoever it is, you and I will still be here. Enemy contact.
All right. So I'm sure I could have snuck up on that guy. I'm not really sure. I was hoping he would be facing away from me, but if it's one guy, it's usually manageable. Take it out that just in case. But I really do like the fact that the level design is very linear and simple. I think is preferable because it makes every encounter like a little set piece. And you don't have to have these like big sprawling spaces where you have to worry about figuring out where you're meant to go and everything. Get a checkpoint soon. Hey, there we go. I hope you guys can see the game because it's very, very dark on my screen. It's not helped by this light blasting me in the face, but I think it's mostly okay on you guys' end. Nope, I'm not here. That's fine. That's nope. Oh, there's a grenade. That didn't hit. Well, I'm just gonna walk into this grenade. There we go. And let's try that again. Okay, so there's 4 dudes on the map. Avoid enemy grenades. Oh, well, that's good advice. Yeah, so you double tap down on the D-pad to crouch, you double tap up to sprint, and it works pretty well. Like, it's just pretty clever, economic button layout. Pretty parsable. Yeah, whenever I look over at my OBS preview, like, I'm constantly surprised. Like, oh yeah, that, you know, that looks pretty good. Yes, you double tap down to engage your Q knees. That is exactly correct. So I guess it's the dude here right in front of me who saw me as I went into the pipe. As I did that with the exact wrong timing. Wait for him to turn around. So it doesn't look like anyone's route leads them to standing right in front of this valve, which is bad for us, but we're just gonna have to do a little bit of data collection here and figure out what's a good route. Like getting the drop on someone and headshotting them, see, is like not really a viable strat. Oh, I couldn't even vent myself. Oh, I'm out of ammo. Oh yeah, reloading takes like 2 seconds, and it's visibly hard to tell when it's happening, and you cannot change weapons while it's happening. Wait, I have a knife again? Okay. I mean, I don't see how the knife's more effective than the gun. But he heard something. But corpses vanish instantly, so... Reload. Maybe we can, like, you can shoot things to make noise in some cases. Like that thing, and... There's, like, photocopiers that you shoot once to make a noise. When they go investigate, you shoot it again and it explodes. But you can't do that with those vents, because just shooting it the once will trigger the death trap. But yeah, again, as long as you manage to engage with enemies one at a time... Is there a pane of glass here? It's hard to tell. I guess there wasn't. Lightning strikes are a pretty cool effect. Okay, I think we should be done with enemies here. Anything else? Oh yeah, I collected some intel, which I guess is used to unlock like sliding puzzles that will eventually give you like 4 pictures of concept slash promo art. It's pretty unexciting. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be crouching around a lot here because how you maintain stealth. Yeah, I can see some shiny red barrels there. Or is that a... Maybe that's an explosive machine of some kind. Can't hit shit. I want to get a little bit closer. Oh, but they saw me, so... Yeah, so that little puff of smoke was... whatever that was exploding. It's a little visually confusing because there's like no real visual feedback. But yeah, the tutorial insists that that aiming down sights here is gonna like vastly improve the aim, or that it's severely worsened by not doing it. But I don't know that that is my experience.
You hear something? False alarm.
They didn't even fucking check. So he just like instantly clocked where I was because that thing exploded across the courtyard. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Wait, I didn't die. I guess he dropped a revolving hat. Okay, sure. Switch back to the pistol for brute stealth. At least there is like an actual sort of system for them hitting the alarm to summon. Okay, that's too high of a step. I can't kneel my way up here. Oh, there we go. So it's not like as soon as you shoot a guy with it being non-lethal, like if you do that, they become alerted and nearby guards will be alerted, and that's definitely a bit unrealistic. It's a little like the grace period to take someone down is in some senses not that generous, but at least it doesn't like trigger the alarm and summoning a bunch of new enemies unless they can actually hit that alarm panel. And a lot of the time, even if there is an alarm panel nearby, they will prioritize attacking you over, you know, triggering the alarm, which is a little strategically questionable. But, I mean, I appreciate the gesture. Do I get bonus sound stealth for shooting during the lightning strikes? That would be cool, but I'm also very glad that that's not something I have to try and manage. What's up, MTI? We're bonding. That's what we're doing. We're bonding. I'm doing all right. Oh, that was a thought. I thought something exploded. Oh yeah, sometimes you get fairly pointless alternate routes. I guess we'll take the sewage route. I was out for like 9 or 10 hours or something on Thursday. We had a rare case of really nice weather, so I went out. I had a not a doctor's appointment, but a medical appointment. He's standing next to it. Yep. Oh, see, shit like that is just so stupid. All right, okay. My aim is significantly better if I don't aim down sights, I guess. Because now I just hit stuff, and also the enemies go down. The appointment was very undramatic. It's just a matter of having someone, like a nurse, just redress a bandage. But that went fine. Thankfully, hopefully, next time I go will be the last. I won't have to deal with that. But anyway, I had that appointment. I went out, chilled in a park for a couple of hours, and I met up with... Oh, there's a security camera. I should probably shoot that. With friend of the channel, Sampler Info, to have a quick beer and watch the new Mission Impossible movie, which was not very good, by the way. But that was fun. But all in all, I I did like 20-something thousand steps over the course of the day, and I got pretty... I didn't get badly sunburned, but I totally forgot to put on any... What do you call it? Sun protection? So I had like a... what felt like... not really heat stroke, but I was really like exhausted yesterday. Sunscreen, I guess, is a better word for it, yes. So yesterday I was like a complete fucking corpse, and I've like barely recovered today. To the point where it's actually still like, oh, my knife ammo is full. I can only carry one knife. Too bad. Oh yeah, we have like objectives, right? The objectives usually don't matter too much. They're usually walk to the next checkpoint. Greetings, noted Mission Impossible Parts 7 and 8 enthusiast, Macaw 45. I rewatched 7 like the other week in anticipation of watching 8, because they're obviously like the same movie, the first and second half. And I remember not liking 7 all that much, but rewatching it, I was kind of like, you know what? The story is incredibly stupid, but it's got some pretty good tense scenes and like some good characters, and like, you know, I still kind of enjoyed it. But 8 is just like a fucking piss take. Like, it's just... I might as well use our knives here. Well, that worked. Great. Piss take or piss steak? I would say it was a medium rare piss take. I mean, it was just... I mean, aside from the fact that the villain is this like all-knowing Earth corrupting computer virus, and the virus's friend, who was apparently someone Tom Cruise knew in a, you know, in the past, whatever. They have a shady history, supposedly. We're told that Ethan Hunt really hates this guy, which, I mean, fair. I do too. I think he's a pretty stupid character. I need to hydrate. Didn't I just take a sip of my cup of tea? But sure, I'll hydrate just for you. Alright, sure, let me just make this call. This patrolling guard in front of me.
On to MI6, this seems to be some kind of staging area. I'm sending back pictures.
Copy.
Oh, send picture. So there's little stuff like this where you get to use the touchscreen and stuff, which is, you know, I enjoy that. And there's not much to it, but it doesn't get in the way either, so...
Be careful with those crates. Watch it, soldier. That equipment is vital to the mission. Get those systems packed up and stowed. We deploy in less than an hour.
I think the knife bounced off there somewhere. Are they looking right at... I don't even know how to... Well, this is going to take a few attempts, I think. Anyway, the new movie basically kind of doubles down on everything that was stupid about the last one. But also doesn't really have exciting scenes or dramatic stakes, because things are dialed up to such a ludicrous level that it's impossible to take anything serious. And also there's like a weird amount of nostalgia bait, like callbacks to previous movies, including like retconning plot points from previous films, and like just, I don't know, it's I didn't much care for it. Being on his Q phone makes Bond look like he belongs there. It's a perfect camouflage. You know what? Fair enough, I'll buy it. I didn't have high hopes for the movie because I'd heard that it didn't really have very positive buzz. But I was still having like just rewatched 7, which I didn't like greatly enjoy, and still thinking, you know what, that was pretty decent. I was hoping that I would enjoy it more than I did. Very good guarding you're doing there. Thank you. Why is my reticle this giant? Oh, maybe I'm not crouching. Oh. If he's gonna turn around, I can just shoot him a couple of times in the nuts, but that'll work. But I'm planning to go watch Superman in the next few days, and that movie is getting a lot of very positive buzz, so I'm sure that will be a better time. Well, I trust that it will be anyway. Oh, thank you for turning around. So as you can see, you know, the stealth can be quite forgiving. So we're going this way, I guess. Checkpoint, I reckon. Whoa, object. So yeah, when you're in confined spaces where you get good frame rate, the turn speed doubles. But also sometimes you just start spinning on your own. So there's some real things happening in this game.
Let go of me!
Now, Mr. Bond, what's holding you up?
They've captured the girl.
Move on, 007. The girl is expendable.
But she's a girl. Well, they walked out of the level map bounds, so I guess we're not going after them. Can't really interact with anything here. I'm not sure if we're still like doing stealth, but we'll see. So as you may have seen before, by the way, enemies do show up on the map, but to a degree, it's like based on whether you can see them, or I don't know, whether you can use your Bond sense to tell where they are. Because there can be enemies that aren't visible on the map. It's not always guaranteed. No lean keys to help us here, but oh. Got him.
Sector is clear.
I mean, the sector is clear, but did one of the dead guys just say that? Or did someone else down the hall determine that, well, I heard an explosion, so the sector must be clear? I'm not sure, but let's not question it. So if I use aim down sights now, I will like snap to a dude instead of shooting the valve. So there's actually quite a few situations where you're quite incentivized to not aim. I guess we can't go out that vent. Press the vent button. Probably a little cutscene trigger when we go up here. Oh yeah, this is the helicopter. An ambush. I mean, in fairness, I could never take on this many dudes.
Hello, James.
Alec, you're alive.
No thanks to you. You had to be a patriot and set off those bombs before we could defuse them.
You're Janus? The two-faced Roman god who rained fire down on those who betrayed him. Why?
Why? Look at the last 10 years. The wars. The financial meltdown. Who profited? Who came out on top? You thought you were protecting Queen and country. But it's all about the bankers and their bonuses. You know, I did think of asking you to join my trip into violence. But your loyalty was always to the mission. And never your friend. For England, Jane? I think not.
So I wonder if we get to use fancy touch controls to headbutt the eject button here.
Missile primed.
Yep.
Missile launching.
Okay. What was the thing on the bottom left?
Incoming missile alert.
Eject. Okay. Anything else? What? In the direction of the arrow? Okay. That's a little weird. Eject.
Prepare for launch.
That was pretty sick. See, these little moments are cool. This part was actually pretty decent in the Wii game too, but it was a lot less involved than this.
Bond to MI6.
What happened, Bond? Are you all right? What do you need?
I need a plane. I'm going to Africa.
Yeah, definite Bond moment. See, like,
Mr.
oh,
Bond. Good morning, 007.
that's right, instant mission briefing.
Following up on the picture you sent, we've learned that Pan-African Power has recently completed a clean energy facility in a protected area of northwest Nigeria. From the satellite shot, nothing appears to be amiss. We're downloading the coordinates now. I'll send the blueprints and floor plans as soon as we receive them. Keep us appraised of your progress, 007. MI6 out.
Bond to MI6. I'm 10 minutes away from the target.
Copy, 007.
This shit is sick. Like, the cutscenes are awesome. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is there like a boss fight at the end of this level, but I guess it's just the boss fight? Okay, let me pause. Still cutscene, okay. Well, that's convenient. Okay, there we go. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's like, because there's so, like, there's no debriefing, there's no mission, like, end screen score tally, whatever. Like, there's no downtime to reflect on what we have just experienced. Yeah, so in the film, they say Janus, which would be, you know, close to how it would be pronounced in various languages, including Russian, I suppose. But in the game, they say Janus, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that was a definite Bond moment. But yeah, that's right. Like, so when she was taken away, I forgot that kind of happens in the Wii game too, because obviously in the film they're in the helicopter together, but she just kind of gets taken away so that we don't have to deal with her. But it's kind of funny here because in this version the level ends right there anyway. In the Wii game, it's a little bit more understandable that she gets kind of abducted so that we don't have to deal with kind of escorting her through the entire level. But it makes it, I don't know, it's funny that the N64 game managed to have her be more involved in the action, which is more faithful to the film. But then in this like modern remake, it's like, oh, that's too much work. That's too convoluted. That's too difficult. Let's just have her be taken out of the proceedings so we don't have to worry about her. But it's a lot of weird little things like that where it's ostensibly a remake of the film / game. I mean, the N64 game already has a lot of deviations from the film in terms of plot details and the order of things happen and who's involved in what scene, etc. And of course, you know, a bunch of levels that aren't really in the film or greatly expanded upon. But here it's like almost the opposite, where entire characters like Boris is not in this game at all. In this game, the DS game, whatever his name is, Robbie Coltrane, he's not in this either. His character is in the Wii game, but he shows up for 2 seconds and dies immediately in his like Spanish nightclub or whatever. So there's like a lot of weird little changes like that. Now, you know, some of it is down to the DS game just being a smaller game than its console counterpart. But even then, like I said, the DS game cuts out a lot, but the Wii game has a bunch of stuff that's missing too. And it's kind of weird, but yeah, like in some ways I find it's like I said, wanting to kind of just finish the game, it's nice for things to just, you know, be a little more brief and condensed, but they're kind of more condensed than I expected. So like I said, this is the equivalent of the jungle level in the N64 game, which of course in the film they go to Cuba, which is also like very fast and kind of awkward with the editing and everything. They just kind of go there in 2 seconds, and that's where the kind of final act of the movie takes place. But for whatever reason, like a bunch of the locations are just changed in this version. So instead of going to Cuba, we're in, I guess, Africa somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's specified more clearly where it is in the other version. But yeah, we're in the jungles of Africa instead of the jungles of Cuba. And yeah, this is sort of where Xenia Onatopp like meets her demise in the film, but it's not exactly like a dramatic boss fight or anything. Now, obviously, extrapolating this into an actual elaborate boss fight is, of course, the exact correct move to make for a video game. And I think the N64 game could have done a lot more with it. You at least have that sort of dramatic showdown on the bridge or whatever, which is kind of cool. But the fight with her in the console game was actually pretty sick. And like I said, that happens at the end of the jungle level, so I was kind of expecting us to have a level here. But no, I guess we're landing here, we're doing a boss fight with her. But I'm also realizing that, like, all right, so I guess we're in the final part of the story here. So presumably once we do this, there's like 1 or maybe 2 levels left. In the N64 game, it's like cave or jungle, caverns, and I think there's 1 more in between. Oh yeah, there's wait, hang on, I was gonna say control. Is that? I think so. That's part of the final stretch, right? That's not an earlier Severnaya level. I think that's one of the last levels, and then cradle. Okay, control is after jungle, right? So but it's 4 levels, right? And I think, because I was trying to like sort of speculate there, because the Wii game is structured similarly, where like each chapter is sort of 1 location. So there's like 3 Arkhangelsk levels, then you go to Ibiza or whatever it is, and then there's like 3 or 4 levels in St. Petersburg, or 5 maybe even. And then there's however many is in Africa / Cuba. So here it looks like we might have like 1.5 level or something. Which means we could actually be... I thought we were about halfway through the game when we started playing, but it turns out we might be closer to the end than I thought. Having said that, the final level in the console game was quite difficult. And there was actually a pretty cool boss fight with 006 as well. Let's see if any of that gets replicated here. Anyway, I guess this is going to be a little bit of a puzzle fight. So let's interact.
James, look for the manual launch button.
What are you saying? Oh, I got armor. Do I have to press the... Where am I being... Okay, I was gonna say I just whiffed.
That's the best you've got?
Falling back. I lost my entire armor, of course. Oh, Jesus. Okay. This might be rough. I'm gonna swap weapons. No, never mind. You forgot. I forgot. You start each level with no weapons. Oh, you can whiff melee attacks. That's pretty good. Oh, I got armor, I guess. Ammo. I'm trusting that there's going to be some kind of cutscene when we can attack her again. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. When you're in aim down sights,
Are you having fun?
your gun jerks around like crazy anytime you shoot. I guess it kind of doesn't when you're not in that mode. I just noticed there's like one panel to my left here. Means I reckon we have to do this at least 3 times.
I couldn't tell.
Try to stick with our back to the wall here. There's a bunch of explosive stuff we can shoot. Oh my god. Oh yeah, you can't melee while reloading either, by the way. Get some health back. Am I being shot by her or the dudes? Oh, I actually got a headshot there.
My turn.
Okay, we're actually doing better than I would have expected. I think that probably interrupted my reload though. Yeah, sure did. And I'm very grateful that we don't have to deal with her and dudes simultaneously. Okay, let's make a run for it. I cannot squeeze through there. How many of these things are there? It's kind of funny that it just like misses.
Try harder than that.
Okay, I can see dudes spawning in. Actually does reload pretty quickly.
Take this.
Oh. I was just like, okay, let me just go over there, and then camera has to cut to her. Okay, hit it? No. Oh shit.
It's time to put an end to you.
I'm getting rid of the touch controls.
Enjoy your death, Mr.
This time, it's on me.
That's pretty sick. All right, so we just did the boss fight before the jungle level.
Our thermal imaging is picking up lots
Instead of at the end of it.
guards between here and the solar park.
At least we're getting the jungle level.
MI6 out.
Daniel Craig's trademarked vacation outfit instead of the tactical fishing gear favored by Pierce Brosnan. Carefully navigate the trap-laden jungle. Okay. That was a very cool boss fight. I enjoyed that. We even did it first try.
So do you think it's the agency?
It's not the agency.
Well, who then? FSB? The Chinese?
Doesn't matter. Whoever they are, their life ain't worth a crap.
Gotta finish their generic villain dialogue so I can sneak up on them. Antics rifle. Nope. Well, that worked. Oh, I was like, so what's the magazine size for this? I've got 49. Looks like it's a big drum magazine or something. No, it's 50. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't know that like stealth is important here. Yeah, having to shoot that many times is just not terribly satisfying. Like, if you could reliably get headshots if you had a like a clear vantage point and a good clean shot, it'd be one thing. But because if you line up and they're just standing there, it's hard to even get the headshots to land reliably.
Careful, 007. Intel shows the area ahead is filled with proximity mines. Move slowly and mind your radar, 007. A mine will appear on your screen when you get near it. Get
That's
too close,
convenient.
and the mission's over.
Doing that is satisfying. But the conditions under which you can reliably do that are kind of rare. False alarm. There's no dead body here. Oh, I see. Mine's beeping. Let me catch up. It is for sure like a reasonably high production value game, but at the same time, like, I mean, I like the graphics. The graphics are probably my favorite aspect of this game, especially the presentation of those little cutscenes and cinematic, like QTE set piece event stuff. Like, that's really cool. But it's not a particularly like interesting look, I guess. Like, or at least in terms of like, you know, whether the high production values are a great thing. Just on paper, in theory, like imagining that it was some kind of a 2D pixel art game, it could have been something far more exciting in my mind. But I think it's just like the scale of it makes it also a little bit quaint, sort of, you know, not that exciting or riveting. But if you make it too much larger, then it gets sort of tiresome and just like too, you know, if the levels were more open, if the levels were longer, if there were more levels, like, I don't know that I'm enjoying the game enough that I would want more of it, or that would make it any better. It's like, for what it is, it's reasonably well executed. I just think like what it is something that is sort of inherently limited in how like amazing it could possibly be. So that guy was literally shooting me during his death animation. Yeah, the Craig thing is certainly odd. Like, anytime he opens his mouth, I'm like, oh shit, right, it's him. But it's, you know, there's an extra layer of funniness to that because it doesn't sound like him, because for whatever reason, the dialogue is like pitch shifted.
Bond, watch it. The satellite shows a sniper guarding the road ahead. There's an alternate path available, but you'll need to run or you'll never make it.
Okay, map looks pretty elaborate here. Advance on the sniper's position. And also the model does not really look like him either. And do I just sprint through here?
Good job, 007. He's watching more closely now. Find
Okay.
a way to distract him, even if just for a moment.
Okay.
Find another line of sight.
Pick log.
Move it.
Mighty foot engaged. So sometimes the game does cool shit like this where it's like a little bit set piecey. Like they don't just have this like super core set of mechanics and just repeat it ad infinitum. Like there are bits of cleverness and like kind of bright moments.
Steady as she goes, Bond. See if you can take him down quietly.
But at the same time, I don't know. Whenever that isn't what's going on, it's just not. Ah, fucking auto spinning.
Well done, 007. It should be safe to move forward.
Like, I think the level design is good. Especially compared to the other portable... Should I be sniping dudes here? What's the objective say? I mean, I guess I might as well... I'm up here anyway. Actually, did he drop a rifle? Or was that a storyline only sniper rifle? I guess so. Non-corporeal sniper rifle. Yeah, it's my fucking Q knee pads, dude. Could never quite work out that double speed auto spin. Alright, I guess I just dropped down here.
Tread carefully, 007. Another minefield up ahead.
Alright, the trap laden jungle. I mean, these, it looks like a trap. Shoot the mines. They're not giving me a red thing, and also they're not, like, flashing. Which I guess it makes sense that they're not flashing if they're meant to be hidden. Like, both in terms of narrative and game mechanics. I guess I walked too close.
Tread carefully, 007. Another minefield up
But yeah,
ahead.
for sure, the fact that the checkpoints are so frequent also makes this... Okay. I'm pretty sure I snuck past on the left of that last time, but maybe not.
Tread carefully, 007. Another minefield up ahead.
I don't think I should be stepping on it.
Someone's here.
Alright, we're good. We're good. I guess just the controls just aren't super great, making it a little bit tedious to deal with. You know, on an actual DS with the touch controls, it might be a little, you know, a little bit better, like more intuitive. All figures.
Tread carefully, 007. Another minefield up ahead.
But I suppose we've also, you know, kind of experienced some decent heights when it comes to Bond FPSs in action that, like, a version of some of those ideas that are almost inherently just lesser in several ways. Just kind of, I don't know, there's a limit to how excited I get by it. What's up, Tonda? So I wanted to sneak into that little alcove on the right just to see if there was some intel or collectible or something, but I probably should not have bothered. So I don't know if there's like invisible mines also. Let me just... So as you can see, the fucking machine gun is like less effective than the pistol, it seems like. Like weapons, I mean, that's another thing. Like, once you're in straight up shootouts, it's like, that's kind of when the game is at its worst. I don't know why I need to go to the left here. I think that's intel. I guess this is just a wall. Like, the aiming is weird. Enemies take way too many hits. They shoot you while they get hurt.
007. Watch your step.
Oh, so now we're supposed to carefully navigate the trap-laden jungle. I was attempting to do that too early. Like, do I sneak closer to trigger dialogue, or do I just... The reticle isn't red. That's because I'm behind a corner, and I will shoot the wall, most likely. Whoops, I need to uncrouch. Yeah, see, now it's red. See, like... Yeah, they keep shooting after they die. And they... Whenever you shoot them, they either, like, go into a crouching pose or double over. Like, they shift their body around. So it's super difficult to land successive hits. Like, I mean, you kind of gotta aim for center of mass. Just in general, like, the general crotchal region is just the most effective place to aim. But of course, you know, if you have the shot, you want to get the headshot. But yeah, chances are you somehow botch the headshot so they don't die, and then you can't quickly follow it up with a second shot because they, you know, they bend over or sit down or fall over backwards, and I don't know, there's a lot of little things like that that just make it annoying. All right, so I probably don't want to walk over this giant pit, which is marked on the map, by the way. Well, that's pretty cool. I feel like you should remark on it, but... So this is the trap-laden part. I get it. No traps on the map. Do I dare tread across open ground? Guess so. All the guards helpfully stationed with their back turned to me. And I do mean that, by the way. I'm genuine. I do like that, like, because it makes... We talked about that a bunch last time, but, like, stealth that have, like, really tight timing windows where you have to be really careful and you will fail, like, 60 times before you eventually figure out the exact right way of doing it. Usually isn't, like, it doesn't make it more fun. Having it served up on a platter can be a little bit immersion breaking if it's like really blatant and really frequent, but it can also be like very it can feel really good, especially if there's been like action bits that are really demanding. Just getting like a little freebie of getting to sneak up on someone and take him out without any resistance, in my opinion, can feel really gratifying. And oh, the other guy's coming to investigate. But I guess it's nothing. Yeah. That almost went bad. So, like, stuff like this is cool. Like, anytime you get to do stealth, like, anytime you don't have to forcibly engage with enemies too much, the game's actually kind of fun. Fine. That's a dropped rifle. I assume that's the mine behind me beeping. It in the intel menu. So I'm pretty sure the intel menu is just the image puzzles, but I kind of forget. A checkpoint. Guess by the little star marker. My reticle turned red there for flash. Don't know what I caught in it. Checkpoint reached. I guess we're still... navigating the trap-laden jungle. But right after the checkpoint is like... when it's the least necessary to be careful. Okay, he was briefly aware of us there because the music changed. See, he shot me 3 times after he was laying on the ground, and you saw my health go down. You heard this, the gunshots. So that was definitely his shots hitting me. Like, I can't fucking shoot and hit anything when I use the actual aim mode. Meanwhile, an enemy can die, and while lying on his back, dead, with his gun to his, like, pointing straight out to the side, he can maintain perfect accuracy for 3 successive shots, taking out like 40% of my health. Shit's a bit fucked. But thankfully, this is a 2010 first-person shooter, so our health just regenerates. No checkpoint here. Kind of bad. Oop, there we go.
Thank your lucky stars for the cute mini-man.
Indeed. Thank you very much for those bits, Space Hole. What's up, Aquas? You're doing well. I guess it was a cutscene with a helicopter or something. I really was not paying attention. I was mesmerized by the whole bits situation. Do I have to like watch out for a helicopter? Someone noticed me. Switch it up. Oh, fuck. Crouching then. Oh, there's a mine. Look up, please. There we go. No one in earshot. No one heard those explosions, so we'll be good. Could be lurking with a martini. I have some martini in the fridge, I just realized. Actually, it's quite a treat on a warm day. I might have some later. What's up, Nerva? Natural jungle noises. I mean, the sound is rather indistinguishable from the you know, the lightning in the previous level, so I mean that makes sense. Just, you know, naturally occurring nature sounds. Okay. The sound of me punching him in the dick was not camouflaged by the loud helicopter, but that went well anyway. Yeah, so stuff like that, when they just like instantly notice stuff, can feel annoying in a way that's, you know, kind of pretty typical for these types of mechanics. But because you don't get like an influx of additional enemies, and if there's only one other dude, or at least whatever's left, you can kind of take one at a time, it's really not a big deal for the most part. I think it's easy enough to deal with. You know, and also again the fact that like bodies disappear instantly, so you don't have to worry about like bodies being found or anything like that. Like they're pretty forgiving mechanics, broadly speaking. Someone's like kind of patrolling here. It is interesting, like it's definitely a little unusual for how most of these other Bond games go, that like seeing 3 dudes on a map kind of make you go, ooh, I gotta be careful here.
Wait, you hear something?
Wait, third guy just standing there.
Position secure.
Oh, he was inside the building, I see. Position secure. All right, I'm glad. I'm glad you're keeping the place safe, dude. Alright, I guess that wasn't an alarm. We're good. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's kind of sick that we saw like the dish on the horizon, and now as we're kind of infiltrating here.
On to MI6. I've arrived at the solar
At the
facility.
end of the level.
Good work, Bond. When you confront 006, bear in mind, Trevelyan knows full well the penalty for treason in the United Kingdom is life imprisonment. He's got nothing to live for. Be careful, 007. I've lost one agent. I don't want to lose another. MI6 out.
There we go, final level. Oh, but like, it's so abrupt. Oh, page 1 of 2. Yeah, make your way to the server room, plant explosive charges without being detected. Find an opportunity to free Natalia and yourself. So I guess we have to get captured before that can happen, but I'm sure the game will take care of that. Defend Natalia while she gains control of the GoldenEye satellite. That part was kind of obnoxious in the Wii game. But it was mostly obnoxious because we had to do it twice. Oh, well, I mean, it took more than one attempt, but after completing it, the game crashed, like, right... essentially, in the middle of the final boss fight at the end of the level, the game crashed. And we had to start over. And despite there being checkpoints throughout the entire level, we had to do the entire level from the beginning. Well, it's not an escort mission. It's not the... she isn't the issue in that game. Of course, I don't know what it's like here. But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure anyone who's played the N64 games got some, you know, pretty vivid, traumatic flashbacks. And I'm sure it's, you know, somewhat referential to that little sort of set piece in that game. But it doesn't play out the same way at all. Conceptually, it's similar. But it's more about there being a lot of enemies showing up from a lot of different directions. And, I mean, you do have to protect her. She will take damage. But she also will regenerate health. Or at least, she kind of moves between stations. So she has to hack a station for a while, and then she's done. Then she, like, trots over to the next one and has to hack that for a moment. And whenever she moves to a new hacking station, her health is refilled. But it's more about, like, you have to navigate this obstacle course of a room with, like, electrified floors and fires and stuff. So you have to route this path through the room, which is pretty unintuitive, or at least, like, takes a little bit of trial and error. But also there's enemies populating the room, so kind of regardless of where you're at on that little path, you will be accosted by dudes from different directions. And as soon as you're being shot at from more than one direction, like, you will, I don't know, even in that game, like, it's not quite the same as it is here, but you can die pretty quickly. But we'll see. For the most part, I don't see an immediate reason to assume that it'll play out the exact same way in this game, but there will be some kind of version of that scenario. But it does sort of seem here that, I mean, I guess we don't know, and there sometimes are kind of additional objectives or things change a little bit over the course of the level. In the Wii game, there are essentially 2 Trevelyan boss fights. And that does not appear to be the case based on how this is written out, but we'll see.
6-2 over. Are you sending more men down? Confirmed. We'll cover Beta Quadrant. Out.
Okay, so what now?
Base reports that someone's trying to infiltrate the facility. They're not taking any chances. We're to fire on all unknown contacts. Shoot to kill.
Alright, let me just stand here with my back turned in case someone's sneaking up on me. Well, it's kind of an international cadre of henchmen, I think. This mechanic's sick. 7502, check. Everyone's got a different accent.
Listen carefully, 007. You need to plant explosives in 5 key locations here in the lab.
Oh, this is like a
ensure that the
retread.
base's operations are
Oh, I shouldn't say
destroyed.
retread, but
It won't stop them firing the satellite. but it will bring everything else down, including the solar park tower. Silence is crucial. If your presence is detected, the mission's over.
It's like the same mechanic as in the Archangelsk facility level that we have to walk around and place explosives. We got a little bit of a stealth set piece level here. Or
cameras everywhere, 007.
Area.
Take them out.
That was a freaking jump scare and a half. That's the thing, like, at this point, of course, I won't know where guards are, or like, I don't expect to do this first try. For instance, there was a camera right next to the, well, a turret.
Cameras everywhere, 007. Take them out.
There was a checkpoint here? Cool. I was just expecting that I would have to do this entire thing with no checkpoints. I feel so relaxed right now. Take care of that. That means we probably need to move around. So that's like on a lower floor, that checkpoint. Speaking of floors, this... Okay, it looked like there was some...
floors, 007. Move carefully and see if you can deactivate the sensors.
I was expecting, I thought... Vault down to the lower levels. Huh? Okay. Checkpoint reached.
Warning, Bond. Mines. Don't set them off. The sound of the blast will bring in the guards.
Can be disarmed by actioning them. Alright, let's action this thing. That's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know if I should be like walking around stomping on the floor, but like, I don't know, maybe there's not a lot of guards in here. Like maybe guards and making noise isn't what I should be concerned with. I guess we'll find out. Seems like there would be like checkpoints here and there, so... Camera. Take that out. Why are we disarming charges? This charge, I guess, is planted on a completely expendable server or cooling unit or something. We have to explode the right things. I think it said that if these things explode, like, we're fucked. So I can't shoot it to this, like, to get rid of it from a distance. Seemed to be the implication. Yep.
One charge plate.
Which is pretty funny in right in this spot right here. Like, oh, we can't let this thing explode. Let me just plant the bomb 45 centimeters to its left side. But hey. Okay, so looking on the map, right on the opposite side of this corner would appear to be a place we need to bomb. There's also one in front of us. This is actually a cool little puzzle section. I like this. Star checkpoint. Nope. That freaked me out. Luckily, the cameras don't raise an alarm. They just started auto spinning there. Alright, okay.
Another one down. Nice work.
Checkpoint reached. Nice. Okay, that's comfy. 2 of 5 charges placed. I guess I'll have to... Oh, that's right. I don't know if I'm walking right into the camera feed or something here, but...
another charge.
It's like
Keep
not
moving.
super duper threatening, provided we can actually see, like, and predict where these things are. But it's still pretty tense. Like, I think this disarming mechanic is actually pretty awesome. All right, we're probably done downstairs. Is this where we vaulted down? I guess so. So we're taking this. I think we vaulted down over there. Well, I guess maybe it doesn't matter. There's one staircase going up, so I guess that's where we're going. A generic 2010 fly action music here. Certainly doesn't really do much to evoke a GoldenEye feel. Like, I remember that was a thing when we played the console game that felt kind of peculiar, that it's a game that feels like it's got sort of a split identity issue where obviously it wants to be reverential, and it's like building off of this thing with the legacy of GoldenEye and everything, but then it sort of takes any opportunity it can to set itself apart. So like it sort of recasts all the characters, it changes all the locations. It like, oh, I love this part. Like all the details are different. Nothing looks the same, nothing sounds the same, and it's changed to like a contemporary setting. So, I mean, I guess this facility is whatever, but if we had music that sounded like the film or the game, because the N64 soundtrack, obviously it expands a lot, like it doesn't use the film score, but it has a lot of, like, it's obviously very inspired by the film score. And it's like perfect. The music is so good. And it really, like, it's the kind of thing where if you've played the game, and if you've played the game, you've likely spent more time listening to the music in the game than you would have in the film. When you watch the film, it's like kind of weirdly uncanny, because it's like, oh man, it sounds just like the game.
One charge left.
So they did a great job with that, and I think, you know, on that token, you know, if they had soundtrack in this game that was more evocative of the film, it would have felt like GoldenEye in a way that this just doesn't. It's like ever so often something happens that reminds you, like, oh yeah, that's right, this is supposed to be GoldenEye, I forgot.
That's all of them, 007. Your phone will work at the detonator.
So like with the music, it's like one of those things where,
good luck, Bond.
to borrow a phrase, you might not have noticed, but your brain did. And having that component feel like more authentic. Like, it would have been so much cooler if they actually made it a full-on like 90s period piece, and kind of leaned into that. But alas. Oh, we gotta get captured. That's right. Oh. We didn't have to press a button.
Take me to Janice.
It would have been the third time in the game otherwise that we press a button to drop our gun. Can't believe this is the third Bond in peril in this game.
Hello, James. You're just in time to watch.
I can't uncrouch.
We're going to use her fingerprint on the GoldenEye control to detonate the weapon.
Interesting setup, Alec. What is it? You hack into the banks, transfer the money electronically, then erase
Excellent
your
cinematic
tracks
framing.
It's not just the banks, James. It's everything the bankers touch. The stock market, financial records. Every transaction on every computer in London, all gone in less than 4 minutes.
It's nothing but a high-tech bank robbery.
Give me a cell phone. What is it? Press this key to disarm the explosives? Or did you reprogram it?
How well do you know me, Alec? Press it and find out.
Doesn't sound too pitch shifted now.
Take him away. Use her finger to detonate the weapon. Focus the mirrors and send the signal. When is the satellite over London?
6 minutes, 15 seconds.
Excellent. Hack into the banks and begin transferring the money. Make it quick.
Am I in control? Wait, what?
End of the road.
Oh, I have to close the DS, I think. Oh, shit. Okay. We'll get to that in a moment. Lamasar subscribed at tier 1. On a 60-month streak. That is, in fact, 005 whole years. That is incredible, and I am very, very grateful for that. Thank you very much indeed. Blue X, welcome. So I assume he just, you know, he was raising his arms. He was hands upping and whatnot. But there was a part earlier in the game where we had to close the DS to like simulate pulling down a piece of metal or something. So now I'm wondering, like, am I supposed to close the DS to simulate a fucking double axe handle or something? But there was an action button prompt on the screen, so I think let's try pressing that first. I was just mentioning before, Lemisar, that I was out on Thursday. We had some nice sunny weather, so I was out in the sun for a couple of hours, and then I went to watch Mission Impossible, which was not very good. And then by the time I got home, I had walked like 20,000 steps. And I forgot to mention, by the way, in terrible shoes. I didn't wear my normal shoes. And I have a pair of shoes that I normally use indoors. They're kind of like Crocs, not exactly, but they're like easier shoes to put on and off than I could use without socks. It's like, you know, if I'm just gonna go sit in a park, it's nice to have a pair of shoes I can just kick off very easily. Was my thought process, but as it turns out, walking a lot in those shoes was not great if you want to avoid blisters and whatnot. So my feet hurt pretty badly yesterday, and I was like lightly sunburned, and I was really exhausted. So it's taking like a day and a half to just recover. but it was good. Like, it was an actual proper vacation day. So I enjoyed that still. But I'm doing all right. Yeah, there's a couple of games that use, technically it's not using the hinge as an input, but what it's doing is it can detect if the DS is closed, right? Because when you close it, it goes into this kind of pause, sleep mode, etc. I think there's the only two games I can think of off the top of my head that I know use it are Phantom Hourglass there's like a puzzle in some dungeon where you have to like, because you have the map on your bottom screen and you're supposed to like stamp the map or something, so you literally like imprint something from the top screen on the bottom screen by closing the DS. There's also the Daffy Duck thing, Duck Amuck, which I don't know if it's a proper game or if it's just sort of a little sandbox play thing. But that's a game that I don't know if you have to close the DS to progress at any point, but it acknowledges the closing of the DS as like an input, essentially. I can't remember off the top of my head if like Hotel Dusk or some other like adventure game like that has some similar sort of puzzle or something like that. I feel like it wouldn't surprise me. 999 feels like it definitely would, but I don't think it did. I can't recall. I finished that game, but I don't recall if that was a thing. But yeah, a small handful of games do that. But I was very surprised when it happened in this game, because this game doesn't strike me as the kind of game that would go out of its way to do something novel to the point of like unintuitive with its inputs. Well, let's try this again. I guess that's just a dramatic cutaway.
End of the road.
Wait for the button to show up. Yeah, there we go. Luckily, I got my infinite pistol back. Key card. See there? I clicked the thing, but it didn't reload. I have a feeling stealth isn't going to be terribly necessary, so... This interaction is fun. I like it. Yeah, Herbo, I mentioned that. That's Phantom Hourglass. I almost died, by the way.
James!
Can you deorbit the satellite?
Yes.
Okay, checkpoint from here at least.
Do your best. I'll keep you covered.
Okay, I'm a little bit anxious about this. But we'll see how it goes. Not sure where enemies can spawn. We have the map, but... Oh, I also didn't realize she was on... I thought... What the... I thought she was standing next to me. Whoa. It's like silly how hard it is to kill him. I didn't mean to duck. I started reloading. Okay. Checkpoint reached. I'm just mashing the interact button. Is that Boris? To my knowledge, Boris is not in this game. He is not in the Wii game. He just the character does not feature in the story whatsoever. Missed opportunity for sure.
I need more time. It won't excuse me. Get him!
Oh my god, fucking double speed turning. But he didn't die. Of course he didn't die. He didn't die.
Target located. Target spotted.
So I was trying to determine... I was just trying to determine if enemies spawn on the upper levels. I'm pretty sure they don't, but sometimes it gets confusing where you get hit from. See, like the insta crouch when you shoot them.
Okay, concentrate. There must be
Sometimes. I didn't mean to start reloading.
Move out! Move out!
See, like, they keep shooting as they... As they take damage. Like, as they're reeling or running up, like, they just basically never stop shooting. Or they're at least not, like, ever incapacitated. Oh, it was a checkpoint. There's armor. And now dudes are up there.
James, come over here.
Oh, okay. I just wanted a little bit of health to recover. Not recovering very quickly. I think I need to hand over the hard drives for the checkpoint to register. These are so fucking tanky. Wait, I don't want to switch the shit shotgun. Okay, so where did she go / what am I doing now? I don't have an objective marker. Okay, I guess I'm just protecting her. Want a little bit of ammo.
James, help me.
Checkpoint reached.
What's wrong?
There must be an override.
Take this. I'll be back.
Come again? I just unequipped my weapon. Okay, enemy stopped coming. I think we're good. You know, that wasn't so bad. It could have been a lot worse. The fact that, like, we had relatively frequent checkpoints. We're good. I just dropped this, like, well... Is there a command for dropping weapons? There might be. But yeah, I guess we've completed most of the objectives. Okay. Oh. QTE fight?
You're too late, James. I'm just about to override her transmission.
That was confusing.
Alec. Don't make this harder.
You're gonna have to try harder. You disappoint me, James.
I guess that makes sense, Lemisar. I guess I would have expected it to be the handgun that he handed over. Also, I think that was... Yeah, that was the end of the level, and now we kind of started a new level with a new set of objectives. You know what? I'm in line for about 2 hours, and as I've lamented previously, stuff just keeps going. There's no, like, natural breaks. So I think this is as natural of a break we're going to get. So we're going to take a short pause here. Speaking of, let's pause the timer. And when I return, we'll do the final confrontation and bring Trevelyan to justice. Just give it a little bit of a cliffhanger and come back to you and see if we can deal with this scumbag in just a few minutes. Let me actually do this so we can mute the audio as well. There we go. All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, I returned. Get some game audio back. Get some game video back on my end. Go. All right. Dry lips. Let me preemptively hydrate. And let us bring Trevelyan to justice. Resume the timer. And let's resume the game. Armor. Oh, okay. I reckon we just have to shoot him once, like...
Is that the best you got?
trigger him running away to the next... Oh my god. So again, there's armor there, but... I don't want to pick up armor and then shoot a guy. I'd rather finish the shooting and then pick up armor. Armor is funny because, like, it helps, but you take damage so quickly in this game and you're so reliant on, like, recovering health. The armor, you know, it buys you an extra second or two, but that's about all it does. Something tells me justice in this context involves bullets instead of a trial by jury of his peers in a court of law. Well, I mean, you're probably not wrong, but, you know, we have... M has clarified to us what the punishment for treason is, so I think it's I think we're safe to take, you know, some matters into our own hands. I mean, we have a license to kill, and we'd better, you know, we better make some use of it. That's my take.
Damn you, Bond! Remind me, James, how long did it take you to reach double O?
Dude, there's like literally dialogue happening now. I see a destructible thing in the ceiling, but what does it actually do? Okay, does that, which may have been helpful at some point, probably not now. Can I? Oh my. Oh yeah, that used all of my ammo. I figured I'd be killing dudes and get more ammo, but oh well. Whoops. Well, let me arduously click 3 times for the reload to function. There we go. The funny thing is that swapping weapons is actually, like, shockingly fast. But reloading is not. Yeah, see, that's all my armor gone. There's 2 enemies were shooting at me for 2 seconds. This guy also just didn't die, apparently. Yeah, that's all my armor and also most of my health. SB1. Is this the P90? It is. Okay, I don't have a lot of ammo, but... Just gonna... Nope, I didn't. Oh, I guess that's him. Okay. Makes sense. That was Trevelyan. Of course, we're not gonna kill him with a stage interactable. They're literally standing in the rubble of the thing I dropped down. Whoops. Oh well. Camera? Flash turret, I guess, whatever. Okay, I guess most of these guys have P90s. I don't know if the rifle I could pick up there is my old rifle or if one of the other dudes dropped one. Possible to know. Yeah, you can't like farm ammo for guns other than the one you're currently holding, and I guess they just like despawned. The weapon ammo management type situation is a little cumbersome and unintuitive at times. Yeah, I mean, I guess it ended up that way. They could use it to recover. I don't know if that was like intended, but the whole sequence was a little odd because it didn't seem like there were obvious situations for you to like shoot those things.
Damn you, James!
I should.
Struggling, James. Let me put you out of your misery.
We got some dramatic lighting in here. Whoa! Well, that guy seemed like he got startled worse than me, so... Kind of cool. The other guy on the left still is there. Okay, took care of that guy. I guess there's no point in reloading for one additional bullet, so... I was a little started by Trevelyan standing there. I wasn't expecting that. Well, I have 2 bullets, so let's swap weapons. I can't really see shit, but... It's so obnoxious how tanky enemies are. Like, it's so unsatisfying. You know, like the fucking iron sights. Yeah, are so hard to make out, and they make, like, the recoil is so much worse when you're in ADS. I reckon there's really not much reason to keep shooting, but...
Not so confident now, are we, 007?
I don't know. I'm pretty confident. Like, I'm not sure what happened in the last 2 minutes that was supposed to erode my confidence. Like, what is this? In game, dude. Like, the shooting is so... I don't know if these... Never mind. I was gonna say, I don't know if these do any... Oh my fucking god. I can snipe them from across the room with my pistol, but when I fire fully automatic machine gun fire from like 2 meters, then I can't hit. I'm pretty sure checkpoints are fairly frequent, so I'm not too concerned, but I am annoyed.
Damn you, Bond! Not so
Start with full ammo, so that's nice.
are we, 007?
Gonna explode, right? Yeah. Alright, this has like a red dot sight. That actually helps, but the recoil is still the thing. I like that he mixes it up. He calls me Bond, and sometimes he calls me James. Let's just stick with this. Enough ammo that be good until we get some more. I think it disappeared. I might as well reload. Let's take it easy. Alright, at least we know about the turret now, so less of a worry.
Enemy contact.
Oh yeah, so entering ADS like locks the sight. Oh yeah, I hit. So I could hit it while that happened. Somehow. Okay, fine, we take those. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, when you hold the L button, like you go into this mode and it will automatically sort of shift the camera towards the closest enemy. But it'll only do that once. Like it'll change direction, but then it'll stay there, so it won't lock onto them. Whether they move around or if they just, you know, their body gets jerked around from getting shot, or for that matter, the camera perspective moves because of your recoil. So it's like not really very reliable, the like the lock. Fucking double turn speed. Checkpoint here probably? Yeah.
Ah, you're gonna have to try harder than that, James. You know, James, I'm always thought I had the edge over you.
And like the fucking insta crouch drives me nuts. Like there's not like an animation of them stumbling or reacting. Like you shoot them and then like 2 frames later they are just fully in a crouched position. It's so strange. Like, it's not like they don't have animations for getting shot and like staggering, but did that just like cause steam to shoot out of that? No, that's just a unrelated trap, I guess. I didn't see that guy, by the way. We're okay. I was gonna say, did I just heard a beep? I did just heard a beep. All or nothing, 007. Yeah. Do I have the armor?
You're gonna have to try harder than that, James.
Yeah, the lock-on is like not really instant either.
Come on, James. Is that the best you got?
Lock onto these things. Okay, that did, I guess, cause that thing to... Oh, whatever. That's neat. Is there a dude there? I can't see shit. Let me look over at my OBS window. No, I can't see him there either. There's the mine, though. Oh! Works. I was aiming at the mine, minding my own business, and then that guy ran on screen, causing me to auto-lock onto him. Did he just say I lost him? I mean, I didn't run away. That's all right.
Damn you, Bond. Not so confident now, are you, 007?
Who was shooting me? Or did I take steam damage? There was definitely a guy who ducked back into the hallway, right? Yeah. Let me reload. And yeah, I do have armor. Mode. Ammo's full. All these swooshing noises whenever you walk onto like a weapon pickup. There we go. Oh, melting my armor.
You know, James, I'm always sort
Let's reload. Let's recover some health. Fighting the recoil is so arduous. The insta-crouch. The insta-crouch combined with the fact that, like, they animate, like, reeling when they get shot. Oh, turning. So they'll flail their arms all the way over to the side, but they will be shooting when they do that. And as far as the game's logic is concerned, they still have their gun trained on you. So you still get hit, even though they go when they shoot, which is, like, very annoying and unsatisfying. All right, let's make a dash for the elevator. Point reached. Okay, final showdown time, it looks like to me. So we kind of skipped past the first Trevelyan boss fight, I imagine. Now it looks like we're going to be up here.
Scramble a helicopter now.
But who knows how this... Are we gonna... No, okay. I lost my weapon. I was like, are we on a different level here? Okay, I guess... We got some kind of a chase type situation here. Did I just get laser beamed? No, okay, it's just a staircase.
For England, James.
No. For me.
Okay, I just shot him in the face a few times, and then I walked up to him and just died. What's up, Tacos? The game in throwing enemies at you 3 at a time. The levels have actually been quite different. There's a lot of stealth in this game, and it's actually not terrible. It's pretty satisfying little puzzle situations a lot of the time. And the game hasn't been, like, what you just saw of kind of repeating the same little bit over and over and over. Like, the game has actually had very little of that. You are poorly equipped to deal with one enemy, let alone more than one. So it's certainly not a bad thing that we haven't been fighting crowds. The game has been like partially highly unremarkable and partially like surprisingly novel and kind of clever. But it's definitely lacking. Like, one of the issues with the game is that the shooting in combat is not good. Which, you know, in this style of game, may be an issue. But some of the like little QTE set piece moments and like cinematics and stuff, the visual presentation of the story bits, that stuff has been awesome. Like the fight with Xenia Onatop was a pretty decent kind of puzzle-esque boss fight that ended with this cool little QTE fight. And there was also the sequence where we escaped from the helicopter by having to like kick the panel and push buttons and, you know, tear off a panel so we can access the cables and wire them together and then like slam the eject button. Like, that was awesome. So it's got these little cool moments here and there, but a lot of it, I don't know, not super thrilling. So, okay, do I run up and punch him? Like, because I think in the Wii game, it's also like, in that game, you do have this elaborate long QTE fight with Trevelyan, but at the very end, it is kind of set up like this, and you shoot him once, and then that's it. Like, it's not like, once you've done the difficult fighting stuff. Well, the first fight when you have to actually shoot him, the proper boss fight, is the hardest one, and then you have the QTE fight. I think after that, maybe before that, and then there's a bunch of other stuff, and then this final showdown. And the final showdown has like, there's no real fight at the end, which at that point is the correct choice. Like, we've already done the difficult gauntlet. Now we just need an emotional, satisfying catharsis of like the final moment. But it kind of seems like we are getting that. Like, we don't have the big gauntlet before the, like, or rather that what we just did was the gauntlet. But even that seemed less challenging and less dramatic than the bit where we were protecting Natalia. But again, the presentation of this is quite sick.
For England, James.
No. For me.
Yeah, okay. I guess I just missed last time. Permanently disable the GoldenEye satellite. Let's pick up the phone. Make the call. This looks so cool. Like, how sick is this? Oh yeah, who's raiding a helicopter? Can we just hop on there? No interaction required. Oh, did we get the jungle makeout scene from the DS or the N64 game?
Hold that thought. Bond here.
Well done, 007. We've received confirmation that the GoldenEye satellite was destroyed.
Are you there?
We've been in touch with the Prime Minister
I think you're breaking up.
about both Krumov and Trevelyan.
Thank you. I could have done that myself.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Of course, we have to gaze upon the ghastly visage of DS Daniel Craig. But there you go. It's time. That was pretty cool. I mean, I'm so glad. Like, we've had several games with very arduous and, like, frankly painful final levels and final bosses and stuff, where by the time it's over, you're not excited. It's just like you just feel completely drained and just kind of pissed off and tired of everything, and just go like, oh, fuck me, like, I'm just glad that's over. So for something like this to feel, you know, potentially a little bit undercooked, or kind of rushing things, or kind of speeding through the end, like, I really do, you know, it really doesn't bother me. If we could have had a cool boss fight, like, I'm a little bit disappointed if, you know, if you saw the on a top, like, sort of ending, the ending to that fight. Honestly, in the Wii game and in this game, like, they were both pretty similar, and done quite well. It feels a little lacking that we didn't have the fight like that with Trevelyan. Even the way the showdown is staged like this, which is quite similar to the Wii game, it feels like a very strange choice compared to the film, right? Because in the film, they're like fucking climbing on each other on this little thing at the bottom of a ladder at the bottom of this, like, this extremely ridiculous, perilous situation. And of course, Trevelyan, well, technically, I guess he doesn't die from the fall, but he falls down, right? And he, like, gets mutilated, and then he lives long enough to get exploded, I suppose. But it's a very, you know, personal fight. Not just in the kind of emotional stakes of the characters, but, like, in the way it's staged and the physical representation of them, like, being very... It's a very physical fight. So for that to be replaced by Bond just like, I'm just gonna shoot you, like, it feels a little hollow. In the Wii game, you at least have that, like, brawl QTE fight scene, but when that is completely missing here, it feels strange. Like, it's a little unsatisfying. But at the same time, like, if there was an actual fight at the end there and it was super difficult, like if we had the ending of Quantum of Solace on the PS2, which basically ended the exact same way with, like, one, you know, you just shoot, except in that game there's like a 5-minute sequence leading up to it. Well, not 5 minutes, but it's like 2 minutes leading up to it, and in that little final thing you have to shoot a dude in the head like 20 times in 5 seconds. So it's difficult, and I failed it, and I had to redo it a bunch of times, which really put me off. And by the time I got it, like, it was not climactic or satisfying. It was just like, oh, thank fuck, that's over. So, you know, this at least doesn't, as slightly underwhelming as it may be, I would take that over, like, immense frustration and having the feeling of, like, oh god, just like good riddance, you know. And it's funny, I said at the beginning of the stream that at this point I wasn't excited to be playing this game, but I was excited to finish it, to have it kind of over and done with and moving on. But I think I kind of... Maybe it's the fact that we kind of sped through the game faster than expected. There was like a few more stages perhaps missing than I was counting on. I guess ultimately we did about half of the game on this stream, just in time. Because I think we're at two and a half hours on the first stream, and I guess another 2 hours and a few minutes on top of that for this, so... You know, the game didn't overstay its welcome. I think maybe, I don't know. I think that maybe the final levels had a bit more variety in locales and stuff, but there were still a lot of facility hallways. Related GGs, thanks. Yeah, thanks to all the GGs. Appreciate that. We're gonna go through the spreadsheet stuff. We're gonna do some bond quotient calculations, apply some science, and we're gonna look at the tier list for an update. But just like immediate kind of first thoughts after wrapping up, I think this is not a bad game. This is certainly not, you know, D tier or worse. It's definitely not a great game. It's not a game I would by any stretch like go out of my way to recommend to someone. but it had some, like, I'm glad to have played it. I think it had some cool moments, and I think again, like the aesthetics of how it staged some of these little action bits, like the scene where he flies into whatever African nation this is set in, not in Cuba, where he's flying the plane and on top like shoots down his plane and like it crashes. Like, that was really cool. And there were some scenes like that in the early parts of the game in the last stream too that had me really kind of inspired to just like the idea of like recreating film scenes with this, like, you know, kind of the World of Jiggy level of graphics. Like, I instantly felt like, man, that would be a fun thing to do. Like, that could be a, you know, that's a viral tweet. Like the problem solving of figuring out how to depict certain things with very limited means, like that appeals to me a great deal. Like, I'm really into like lo-fi 3D graphics, and especially when it's rendered at a low resolution, so you kind of get a slight bit of pixel art sort of vibe to it and everything. And I guess I hadn't really like, I've made a lot of stuff that's kind of recreating games. I'm recreating like 16-bit games or old arcade games and that kind of thing, and some, you know, sort of referential or general, you know, familiar scenes like that in the World of Jiggy stuff and other things I might have made. But the thought to do like a movie scene, I guess, hadn't really occurred to me. At least not, you know, I could have maybe done a diorama or something. But the thought of like actually animating it or like using, you know, using the audio from the film and like just animating a little scene with that style of graphics, like, I don't know, I think there's something about it that is quite tickling to me. Senior lead database administrator. Yeah, I certainly have not been paying much attention to the credits. Dmitry Mishkin. Yeah, I think that's like the secretary or whatever who shows up in literally one cutscene, and I think he has one line of dialogue. Still gets name credit. There's a lot of additional voices, dude. Which I guess is like, you know, enemies and maybe some, you know, security voice loudspeaker thing. Costume design. James Bond will return. There. They put it in the game. Fucking looping like generic ass music for the menus and the credits and all that, like, is so unsatisfying too. There was like, I don't know if it was this track, but when we saw the GoldenEye satellite like exploding in space, the music that was playing was like, oh yeah, this is like main menu music, which, like, I don't know if that's like the theme, but yeah, the way the music is used is not very satisfying or exciting. It all sounds like very generic droning background music, so when it's used for that purpose, it works fine. I appreciate the dynamic like ramping up of like the general music during the level has like the action version that kicks in when you're discovered, and it sort of cools down after you kill the enemies. That's good, but as a whole, like, it's hardly a very memorable soundtrack. I think it's better to overcredit than skip people. Yes, of course, 100%. That's not an argument. Well, I mean, some people would, perhaps, but I was mainly commenting on the fact that I was not really paying attention to who or what roles people were being credited. Anyway, before we get to the spreadsheets, let's take a quick look at some of the extra stuff here. Time trials and cheats are now available. That's right, we saw something about time trials, but they were not available, and in fact there was no level select or anything. Like, you could only continue playing from where you were or start from the beginning. Those were the only two options. So I guess the time trials is like the only, like, that's the mode where you replay levels. Because if I pick this, like, where does it even put us? Is it like the last checkpoint? I guess so? No? No, this is the start of the level.
I'm just about to override her transmission.
It's over, Alec. Don't make this harder.
Okay. So for all eternity, this option will just be, oh, you can play the final level. So fucking weird. But if we go to time trials, this is the only place in the game so far where it actually tells us the name of the levels, or like where one level ends and the next begins. The dam level, facility, lab. I think the XP stuff is maybe for like unlocking stuff for the multiplayer or something. I'm not sure. That's right. You go to Dubai instead of wherever it is in the movie, Monaco or whatever. And yeah, there's a level in between here somewhere between the Seven sections and the Arcognath sections in the Wii game. I think that's like kind of the main thing that was missing. Otherwise, I think most of the levels are at least represented. But there's some stuff that's, yeah, like tank, and I think this station is the tank level, I think, in the other game. Like, it's kind of split up in some ways, so it's not exactly, like, the game's shorter for sure. The levels are shorter, but technically speaking, there might be more levels. Yeah, you can see here, this is like a 1 minute whole time. African jungle. Yeah, they don't even, it's just the country of Africa. Outpost, jungle, control, Corona. Well, we're not doing time trials. I was about to say time travels. I guess we aren't doing time travels either. I guess cheats probably go under here. Yeah. Unlock and activates cheats for use in time trials. Like, that makes it sound weird, but if we consider time trials to just be like the mode in which you can play levels, it makes a bit more sense. So all right, so you unlock them in sort of sequence. I think the issue I have with this, just broadly, is that the game isn't really fun enough to make me want to engage with this. And I think it would have been much better if the time trials mode was there from the beginning, but you could only play levels you have reached or cleared in the campaign. Having to finish the game before I can start doing this is a bit, I don't know. I don't really like that. But I mean, if you were the type of person to define replay value as like how many tangible rewards can I receive, like how long can I redo things and keep getting tangible rewards for it, or see more content, etc. I don't tend to use that kind of metric personally, but if you do, then you know there's some stuff here. Awards. What is? I guess these are just like achievements. They're just like a thing, like accolades. They don't do anything, I guess. Fucking a lot of them, though. Oh yeah, so Intel. There's 4 images. So we can... we don't have enough to complete the image, unfortunately. Oh yeah, we can rotate. Guess this probably goes here. Oh, that's, I guess, just... I guess that's correct. So yeah, we you know, we have to play I'm just trying to think, like, dude, we missed a lot of fucking intel, unless... I mean, I can't replay levels. I have to do time trials to find intel, I guess. Or maybe you find it in multiplayer as well. I don't know. But, yeah. This whole thing is like, yeah, you can decrypt images. Like, oh, wow. What a cool... Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, each piece of intel letting me buy one little concept art drawing of the different characters or levels or whatever. I mean, on a DS screen and everything, there would be a limit to my excitement for that as well. But it would be more exciting than this, I think. All right, there you have it. GoldenEye for the Nintendo DS. Done and dusted. Let's do this. Not have to listen to any more of that droning menu music. Let me instead grab some other music. And let's see here. We can do this. I'm going to enjoy a little bit of ambiance as we do our required spreadsheeting. Up, great Sir Nico. Best reward to be of completing each time trial reward you with pages from the original GoldenEye novel. Is there such a thing as a GoldenEye novel? I know the film is named after Fleming's like vacation home in Jamaica or some shit. I don't know the books super well, but I know that a lot of the films aren't like super directly based on them. But there might be. I mean, I'm assuming he didn't write a lot of novels about computer hackers and orbital lasers. But I suppose there could be elements of the film that are based on some novel or another. It would be interesting to read. Like, I'm not a huge Bond fan or anything. That wasn't the impetus for doing this project per se. But I'm certainly curious to read like just some novel. Like I'm curious to get some idea of the literary James Bond character in his universe, because I'm sure it's quite different from the films. That'd be interesting. But I don't know. Among my massive piles of crap back in my shelves, I do not only have a million games that I haven't played, I also do in fact have several novels and other books that I have not read. So I don't I don't desperately need to add more. Anywho, let's see if we can get some spreadsheeting happening here. See here. Content browser. Boom. Let's interact with this in OBS. Let's zoom in a little bit, make it a little easier for you guys to read. Game number 44, GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo DS. Done. Let's make that green. And today's date is 2025-07. Well, status is completed. Final time 4 hours 38 minutes 43 seconds. Oh, I did not take 20 hours. Try that again. 438:43. There we go. Completed the game on, I think it's agent difficulty. I'm just gonna write that. Yeah, I didn't take quite. You can see the Wii game took 10 hours, so a fair bit longer, a fair bit more challenging. Although that was also, you know, included having to do the final level twice. That means that up next is Bloodstone for the Xbox 360, developed by Bizarre Creations. That's a first in James Bond, but I'm excited. I reckon that's going to be a decent time. Here, let's so bold this. And that's the lineup that's left here. Bloodstone, License to Drive, which I'm quite excited for, a phone game. Top Trumps 007, The Best of Bond, which is a card game. Then we're gonna go back for one last golden. Well, actually, I guess that's not true. We're gonna go back to this, the 2010, 2011 GoldenEye for the last time on the PS3. But we also do have the 7th bonus game, the unreleased Xbox Live Arcade version of GoldenEye 007. There might hypothetically be additional bonus missions that we can do. I know that there's been at least one game that I have discovered the existence of since we started this project, which I think is another... it's similar to the Octopussy game that we played, in that it's like an unlicensed computer game. Octopussy is like Slovakian, and I think there's another game that's Polish that I saw something about, and I kind of would like to check that out at some point, but it's not really accounted for in this planning. It's kind of similar to these games, I guess, these like unlicensed text adventures. Did I do the MSX Bond games? I played... I'm not sure, like... I can't remember the exact versions of everything that we played. For some of these games that had a lot of different versions, I guess, yeah, you can see here, we played some of them, but we didn't play every computer version. So this spreadsheet should have a relatively comprehensive, I was going to say cohesive list, a comprehensive list of what we have played. Unlimited bonus missions. Well, I don't know about unlimited, but it may not be limited to this, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll play this when we hit 10 daily goals. We're at 3 out of 10 currently. And I suppose we'll keep that going. Like, the expectation, the hope, is that we will get to this before we're done with the main missions. But if we end up getting to 007 Legends without the goal being fully met, you know, we can just keep it going and we'll get to it when we get to it. We can consider it, you know, a bonus mission can happen after 50. I'm not really taking these bonus games into account necessarily for the Bond quotient ranking or anything either. So I don't necessarily think there's anything limiting us in our ability to do like the final documentation and wrap up for the project, even if we have not yet played this game. But we'll kind of take things as they come. Bond quotient is the scientific method by which we will determine not what is the best James Bond game, but what is the most James Bond game. And I have devised this method that will chart elements that frequently occur in James Bond films and calculating a number here based on how frequent these things are in the games. Simple enough. Each of these categories can yield anything from 0 to 1 points. Usually it's a binary, but sometimes there are things that are kind of there in letter, if not in spirit, or vice versa. The yellow blocks indicate things that I need to double check. I need to kind of check the tapes and like I can't be like, some of these categories have been kind of added successively. So some of these things I didn't really track earlier on. But I will make sure to fully complete this entire spreadsheet before everything is said and done. But as you can see, when we add these points up, at the end here we get the raw Bond quotient. This is not the final score, because as of now, each of these categories are not weighted at all. So everything is worth the same amount. But what I will be doing is I will be watching all of the films, and we watched some of them, and charting the equivalent data for the films, so that there might be things here that we think of as iconically James Bond, but if it only appears in half of the films, then, you know, we can't fault a game for not including it as much as if it's something that appears in every film. So we can obviously still get a good sense of, you know, games that score very highly currently, they're not going to drop in score necessarily. Well, technically they might, but, you know, not relative to other things. But depending on which things have been included, it's very possible that, you know, the actual ranking here can shift around a little bit. So I'm actually extremely excited to try to piece together a final score for all this and just see how that, like, ranked list will turn out. I'm so excited. That's like the most exciting thing about this entire project for me. We are, of course, also parallel with this doing our tier list, which we will be updating once we're done with this. So let's go through it. Tuxedo. I don't think the Tuxedo appears, because in the Wii game, it appears in the one level that was not in this game. I will just make this yellow for now, because I would need to check. We didn't see the Tuxedo in any of the levels today, but it's possible that it was in the first one, the first couple of levels, and I just don't remember. So I don't want to confidently put a 0. There were definitely changes of clothes, though. There were a couple of different outfits. We have his summer vacation outfit, and he has like the tactical stealth turtleneck or whatever in the Arkhangelsk missions. Gunplay, yes. And there are fisticuffs. There really wasn't much. I mean, yeah, we have the Q knee pads, but there's not much in terms of gadgets. There's like, you use your phone, but mostly for phone calls. There's like implications of using your phone to take pictures and sending them, which, like, I mean, I can do that. In 2010, that's not much of a Bond gadget. Tuxedo metaphorical and tuxedo literal. I don't know. If you're gonna divvy it up like that, then I think anything that isn't a literal tuxedo is likely to qualify as a spiritual tuxedo, which I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if how that, like, what the where that'll end up. Q knee pad column. I mean, I don't think that's not that prevalent of a concept from the films, so I think I will refrain from doing so. Is Mystery Funhouse on this list? I'm not familiar. If you want to see the list and you want to look at the spreadsheet yourself, you have it available right there. But I'm trying to think. Like, you disarm, like, considering that it's GoldenEye, it's, again, it comes down to it, like, they're making it this contemporary thing instead of setting it in the 90s, but they've also, like, sort of made it a Daniel Craig Bond, right? Because you play as him, but I guess by extension, there also aren't these, like, gadgets. Because I was thinking about the fact that when we were talking about the Q knee pads and shit, it's like, well, Q isn't in this game. You don't interact with him in the N64 game, but you get, like, gadget briefings, and you have these gadgets and stuff, right? You have the laser watch. But I feel like that entire aspect has been, like, excised from this. So I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not a full point unless there's a gadget that I just forgot about. But the fact that you're using your phone for, like, spy shit could count for more than 0. But I'm also unsure if there's just stuff that I don't remember. Like, you use key cards and enter passwords. You hack computers by inserting a little USB thing in the USB port. Trying to think. There is... Yeah, because you do the password thing Like, stuff like that I think counts. Like, if we think of it as them trying to infuse a little bit of Bondian spirit in those kinds of interactions while keeping it like more aligned with Daniel Craig's Bond, then I feel like we should give them credit for making some kind of token effort. It's not a full point for sure. I see that we gave Quantum of Solace, I guess the 360 version is probably the one we played first, a point 25. And I think that was on similar grounds. Touchscreen interaction parts do bump it up. Well, I would say the touchscreen interaction is novel and it's fun and it's cool, but for the purposes of this chart, gameplay interaction is not strictly necessary. I mean, you could argue in some cases that a more convoluted input method makes it feel more gadgety. I think that's a reasonable argument to make. But when it comes to stuff like driving, like, I will count it even if it's a cutscene, because it's more about how the character is depicted versus like gameplay mechanics. So like if we see him use a gadget in a cutscene but there's no game mechanics to do it, like I would still count it, give it a full point. But I think ultimately even the gadgety-est stuff is not very gadgety. So I'm gonna give it a quarter point. I don't think it's necessarily worth more, but I can mark it as yellow as something to like double check if there was some more blatantly gadgety thing that I just like forgot about. In the Wii game, you get night vision goggles in the facility level, or the whatever it's called, control, command center, whatever. But in this game, you get a flashlight, which is significantly less gadgety. We did get a full point for the other version of the game, but I think that game had a bit more, had some more gadgety thing. I guess it, I mean, we gave it a point for it, so it must have, but my memory is shot. I do not think Bond did any driving of any kind. Like, there isn't much driving in GoldenEye the film, because like famously there was like they didn't get the license or the car or whatever. Like, the car wasn't ready or it didn't exist yet, or there was some shit like that. So they only had like the one car that they could like show in the Q lab or something, but they couldn't actually drive it or do anything with it, if I recall. As far as like Bond car goes. But anyway, there could hypothetically have been some scene somewhere where you drive, but I'm pretty sure there was no actual car driving. The tank chase does not count as driving car, but it certainly does count as driving other. He also drives a plane. So there's plentiful driving, but I don't think there was driving of car. I feel pretty confident in saying there was no car gadgets. Let me scroll this so you can see where we're at. Charm and smarm. There wasn't a lot of it, but he's a little bit pithy, and I think that little final cutscene at the end we can probably count. You know, he's a little bit of a sarcastic prick, and we definitely have the stoic the stoic Daniel Craig. But there's a little bit of that spirit in it. At least there's a bit of Daniel Craig's spirit. I think there's a lot of the same script and the same dialogue, so giving points for the Wii game, I think it's only fair that we give points to this game as well. Mystery Funhouse. I'll take a look at that for sure. Nico, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I think Scott Adams, because I think he may have been involved in, he make... I'm trying to think if he made one of the other Bond games that we did play, but it doesn't look like it. We'll see. We might add this to the potential list of additional bonus games. Thanks again for bringing that to my attention. Yeah. We've played some other... The other text adventures were... Well, there were some licensed text adventures, but we played some unlicensed ones also. Anyway, let's get back to this. So drinking was featured in the... Which I just realized now is so funny. In the scene in the club, which is like kind of replacing the scene in the casino or whatever it is, where Bond and Onatopp meet for the first time. This game that we just played has a callback to that scene when you fight Onatopp, but it's calling back to something that didn't happen in this version of the game, where she offers a vodka, I think. So he like comments on it or whatever. But because that scene doesn't feature, there is no real drinking or references thereof. So I'm gonna put a 0 for drinking in this version of the game. I think we can definitely put a 1 for stunts though, because I'm just thinking of the elaborate helicopter ejector seat sequence, where you do get to experience in first-person view flying up in the air in the ejector seat. There's also the part where we have to escape the like exploding carrier ship and like dive into the water. There's some bits like that. I'm trying to remember if there's some other kind of big moments like that. No kind of perilous dangling from the thing at the end, the cradle, whatever. I guess there's also the parachute. Yeah, there's the thing at the beginning, right? When he escapes the... First, there's no bungee jump in this version, but they like parachute down the dam. And then when you leave, like the very last thing at the end of the Arkhangelsk mission, where he like catches up with the plane and like commandeers the plane mid-flight or whatever. So yeah, that definitely all counts. No gambling. There is globetrotting, even if we see facility hallways. Those hallways do exist in all 4 corners of the world, more or less. There's some M briefings. I cannot quite recall what I gave a half point for Q briefings for in the other game. I think it was because Tanner keeps calling you to explain how to use gadgets, or you know, how to take... Oh, that's right. In the game, in the Wii game, you have this like Wi-Fi, like GPS hack, whatever. That is a whole thing for sure. Yeah, you have to like bring up your cell phone and you see something like... Yeah. That was a thing, which I think fully deserves the gadget. Like you're using your phone to do shit that phones don't normally do. And he like instructs you on how that works. How does a game get 0.25 for gambling? I don't honestly recall, but I'm sure I had good reasons for it. It may have been that there is a... obviously, Quantum of Solace, the games feature like the entirety of Casino Royale as well. So there may have been... like the actual poker game is like not featured in any in the games for the most part. It is kind of in the DS game. There's the whole like poker hand themed power-up system, which is pretty sick. So I think I gave it full points for that. But in the other games, like in the 360 game, the actual act of playing poker doesn't happen. But there's a whole level where you like when Bond gets drugged during the poker game and has to like crawl out to his car, like that is a part of the game, and that's a scene which is very much framed around the poker game. So I think I think I gave it half point because of that, but it's like kind of cutting around the actual gambling part. And I think the PS2 game has the casino, but it's like has even less of the actual poker game. So I think there would be something like that. There's like there's set dressing and kind of theming of it, but not the actual gambling. I reckon that's how I reasoned, but I can't remember the details, which is why I'm writing these numbers down. I don't have to remember this stuff. But yeah, the half point that we got for the Q briefing in the Wii game does not really have an equivalent in this game, so I'm going to put a 0. There's also no Q branch, so that's an easy 0. There's also no money penny. I feel like, well, I was gonna say, I feel like surely he must say Bond, James Bond, probably when he gets introduced to Natalia at some point. I'm gonna put a tentative 1 here because I feel like it's almost certainly the case that this line of dialogue does happen, but I don't really remember it. Now, I feel like he could be saying it at some point in the club level that isn't in this version of the game, but anything yellow means I will need to double check it to make sure, and this is a reasonably easy thing to check for. Just kind of scrub through the gameplay to see if it happens. Is there a GoldenEye Rogue Agent DS game? There sure is, and it is not good. We have played it. You'll see, when we're done with this, we're gonna head over to the tier list, and you'll see where it ended up there. The Bond theme, I don't recall playing. Like, I recognize this, like, endlessly droning menu music. I feel like there might have been a brief moment of the Bond theme featuring in this game somewhere, but I don't recall it. And I feel like if that was the case, we would have heard it in the climax or at the end of the game, which I think was the case in the Wii game. So I think this is probably a 0, but I don't actually recall for sure. The Wii game, I think, had a cover of the actual GoldenEye song, which was not... So there was an opening credit scene in the DS game, which you would have to, like, go back to the VOD to see, because it happens, like, at the end of whatever level, so you can't just, like, go watch it or start a new game to see it. But I don't think the DS game used the actual GoldenEye theme, but did it have its own theme song? I don't really remember. Or a phrase or two of the Bond theme. Yeah, there might have been, like, some... That's the thing, like, it doesn't play in full, and whatever, like, it would have been, like, a 2010 version of the 95 version. Like, it wouldn't have been the original version of the theme. But I think it did have a gun barrel, so it might actually just have played during the gun... Like, I just have to double check, like, all these details, which I should make a habit of filling this in as we go instead of doing it after the fact, because there's always a bunch of blanks like this that I can't remember. I'm gonna put a 1 here because I recall there being a gun barrel. There was definitely opening credits, but I'm just gonna mark these as yellow, and we're just gonna have to check in over the entire, like, opening sequence. Enjoyed a lot of GBA FPSs because they felt like old DOS games. The DS FPSs were never good. I did not really enjoy Nightfire on the GBA. It's, like, technically kind of impressive, and there's a few moments that are really cool, but the level design and the enemies are just, like, so much of a nightmare to deal with. But there are other FPSs on the GBA. It wouldn't shock me if there are ones that are actually kind of fun. The GBA version of Doom, as I recall, is, like, pretty decent, or at least, you know, a good time. Product placement. I was gonna make a joke about like Sony Bravia monitors or something, but I kind of bit my tongue because it's like, well, this is on a Nintendo platform, so that's probably not the case. But he doesn't have, like, a Sony Ericsson phone. In the Wii game, I recall that the branding was, like, very
very specifically like fake branded. So I'm pretty sure there wasn't any actual product placement. We didn't even have, I think, licensed weapon names. Like even the P99, I don't know if it actually is mentioned by name. But just having something be licensed doesn't strictly qualify it for product placement. It has to be like a little bit more... like there are several games where the Walther guns are licensed, or they use the actual model names for those guns specifically, but for every other gun it's just a made-up name. But because they don't, like, the Walther brand itself never features, or not in any way you could describe as prominently anyway, I don't feel like it really counts as product placement. But yeah, I'm gonna put a 0 there. It's like I put a yellow 0 on the other game, but I feel like I feel pretty confident in putting a 0 there. Oh, and yeah, sorry, Llama, I don't think I answered. There's no kind of sound test or anything like that in the DS game. Bond in peril, as noted today. Bond is in peril on like three separate occasions in this game. He's held at gunpoint and giving up his weapons at least 3 times. So that very much counts. Bond likeness, technically, yes. It doesn't look anything like him, but technically there's Daniel Craig approximating texture on that model's face. Bond likeness was something I was curious to track, but it's not going to matter for the final Bond quotient, really, because obviously it's not something we can map and compare with the films. Not to mention that I ultimately don't think it really is important for whether the character like feels like Bond or not. But it's interesting to see like where they do and don't have that. Sexy ladies, yep. At least one of whom are evil, yep. So, dick powers, you know, I think that ending can qualify at least half a point, but I think we might actually give a full point for it, because it's like, she's clearly smitten with him in that scene, and even though she was around for bits of the game, there wasn't really much build up to it. Like, it kind of, you know, it felt a little bit, well, I mean, it felt appropriate, it felt like Bond, it felt similar to how it plays out in the N64 game. So I think we can actually give it a full point for that. Henchman, I mean, Onatop counts for sure. Iconic villain is not a good name for this category. I guess it should be like main villain or something, but you would expect that to always be a 1, but you'd be surprised. There are some games that have villains technically, but not really featured prominently. Some games technically don't even have one at all. But Trevelyan fills the slot, even though he's not exactly, you know, he's not that memorable or imposing of a villain in the game. There's no lair to speak of. We have the base, whatever, at the end, but I don't think we can count that as a lair properly. Doesn't have an iconic cap, no. But we did fight an enemy that had a revolving hat. We shot the hat off a dude's head and it just kept spinning on the ground. That was pretty good. Now that's an iconic... I guess it was a beret, but close enough. Yeah, he gave a speech when he had us at gunpoint. When we... the dramatic cutscene that we remained kneeling for the entire cutscene. So we just watched everyone's crotch instead of their faces. That was pretty good. But he gives his sort of speech about, you know, why he's justified in his actions and whatever. That definitely counts. James Bond will return. That was mentioned in the credits. As it should be. Am I saying this game was nuts? I mean, pretty nuts and bolts. Not too many outlandish flourishes, but ultimately pretty alright. And on that note, let me just double check that the formula here is correct. Yeah, that looks correct. 25 was the raw Bond quotient awarded to the Wii game pending a few details, so there should probably be... You know what? I'm going to put a 1 for Bond, James Bond, because I believe that line of dialogue is most likely in the game. And I'm going to put a 1 for Bond theme, because I think there's some... I don't know. We'll fix that if that turns out to be incorrect. DS game, by comparison, gets a 22.25. Pretty respectable, considering it's kind of a pared down version that's missing some of the stuff. There isn't much that the DS game has that the Wii does not in terms of this list, but I think the Dick Powers is about it. Plus 15 for the Q knee pads. I mean, you're free to make your own spreadsheet, Basehole. I mean, they're pretty good. You do spend a lot of the game on your knee, and if we are to assume that this is faithful to the N64 game, Bond is definitely not animating while he's crouching, right? He's just sitting down on his knees, just sliding across the floor. Maybe there's, you know, a whole set of wheels at the bottom of the knee pad. Could be. Could be. How many games have scored a perfect score for Bond NES? None, but some have gotten quite close. So there are currently, let's see if I can measure this correctly, 34 categories. And the highest scoring game, I don't want to mess up anything here and sort it, but Everything or Nothing, kind of unsurprisingly, given how ultimate that game is and how insane it is, has a 29. But there are a few categories. I think it doesn't have a... Well, it has 1 0 because it doesn't have Moneypenny. Oh, yeah, right. I said that there's 34 categories. There's 33 categories that can give points. There's one category for No Bond, which can award a negative point if the game does not feature James Bond, which technically has happened. GoldenEye Rogue Agent, the console version, does feature James Bond very briefly in the beginning of the game, or some virtual approximation of James Bond. But that part of the game is not featured in the DS game. There was also James Bond Top Agent on mobile, in which you don't play as Bond, you play as like your custom agent character. So even though there's 34 categories, 33 is the theoretical max score. So Everything or Nothing has a 29 because there's a couple of categories that are left empty pending like double checking. So it could hypothetically be higher. From Russia with Love, from the same developer, is also at a 29, but it has a few it has like 0.5 for theme song and 0.5 for stun. So the 0.5 for the theme song is like it has a opening credits that uses a song from the film, but it's not the actual film's theme song. So it's like repurposing film score as its own kind of theme song, but it's not the song used for the theme in the film. But those are the highest scoring games, and there's a couple of others in kind of the mid-20s. But again, if you look at the spreadsheet here, I'll link it again. You can peruse all this at your own leisure. What if there's someone filling the Moneypenny role? Hypothetically, I think that would be fine. I would certainly not have a problem counting that, but I don't think that has ever really happened. Like, if Colin Salmon gives you additional instruction or whatever, like, it doesn't really count unless it's like a flirty secretary assistant type character, I feel like. I just don't think the scenario has really come up. But if it would, I'd be open to giving at least a half point for it. Because we've given points for Q briefings, even when it's not been the character Q. Just because it's like, thematically, it's the same thing. But I don't think a thematical Moneypenny equivalent has been a thing. There you have it, 22.25. Not a bad score, pretty respectable. I think this game will do better in the Bond Quotient rankings than it will do in the tier list rankings. On that note, give me a moment, and we shall be able to make an update next to this list. And I think we can let's do, yep, that should be good. Boom. So here is the current tier list. Some of the games on here might not be super obvious which game is which if you're not familiar. But once we're done with all this, I will give some kind of written breakdown as well. We're obviously going to go over it on stream also. None of this, I would say, is permanent per se. Things can shift. There may well be introduction of new tiers as things get a little too populated, if we feel the need to split things up. We eventually added the S plus God game tier to separate between all the S tier games. We added the B plus because the gap between A and I think the B plus tier is mostly stuff moved down from A rather than up from B. But we might still need some adjustments at some point. And for whoever asked about GoldenEye Rogue Agent, I put the console game in F tier because it was utterly miserable. DS version ended up in D tier, largely on account of being shorter, so it was over faster. But I think it was also not as difficult and as, like, just frustrating and annoying throughout. It was boring, but it was not as infuriating. Like, everything that's down here in the bottom rungs have, like, either they don't function properly, or they're just extremely frustrating, or some combination thereof. Like the Octopussy game, the Slovakian Spectrum, I think it was on, adventure game, is like neat, and I kind of enjoyed it, but it's very brief. It's like basically replicating like a scene from the film, but kind of dragged out. But it's also like a weird adventure game where you have to stand on the exact right pixel in order to interact with a person, and like the feedback on whether something works or not is terrible. Like, it's a very amateur game because it's literally an amateur developed game, and it's novel and it's cool, but it's not very good. And the Spectrum light gun games are also like very barely functional. So yeah, some of the worst games, like even some of the worst games here have like moments of stuff that's kind of neat. Like the View to a Kill computer game has the awesome rendition of the movie theme song, and graphically it's like kind of neat, but the game just fucking doesn't function. Like, it's just a complete broken mess. But anyway, let's not dig ourselves too deeply into all of those things. Oh yeah, and for the record, 007 Hover Chase has not been ranked because we were not, unfortunately, able to play it. It's a cell phone game that is like on some very specific thing that just isn't emulated. So I don't know if we will have the opportunity to play it, but who knows? By the time all is said and done, there could be a breakthrough and the game could be playable. But GoldenEye on the Wii ended up in the B plus tier, and as I recall, I was a bit on the fence about it. It was never really up in the A tier conversation, I don't think, but I wasn't really sure if I would put it in B or B plus. I had a very bad time with it at first, but after following a guide to refine the waggle aiming controls, I had a much better time with it. And it definitely had a lot of cool moments. Like, some of the stuff that was the coolest parts in the DS game They were in the Wii game too, and they were cool there too. And I think it was, you know, an unremarkable Wii first-person shooter in some ways is going to be slightly less dull than, you know, an unimpressive run-of-the-mill DS first-person shooter. So I think, like, on that basis, I feel like I would naturally, like, be inclined to rank this lower than the Wii game. I think the stuff that's novel about the DS game somehow feels more novel because it's on the DS than the equivalent stuff on the Wii. Like the graphical, like the cutscenes looking so cool, like is a thing that you don't really get on the Wii. But like that doesn't really make it a better game. It doesn't make the experience that much more interesting or pleasurable or entertaining. But I think, you know, putting this at B tier on that comparison, I think seems reasonable. And if we compare it to what's in the B tier, or even before that, if we look at what's in the C tier, GBA Everything or Nothing was more of a nothing game than an everything game. I guess we can say that much. I think what the C tier games mostly have in common is that there just is very little to it. They're not all like really bad or frustrating, but that's kind of what separates the C and D tiers. The D tier games were all annoying, mostly frustrating. And the C tier games were mostly just, well, there wasn't really much noteworthy here to like elevate it to something cool and interesting. Whereas like everything in B tier had like moments of coolness or specific aspects you could point to that was like, oh, this was a cool thing. This was a fun moment. This was a cool visual presentation, etc. B plus is like where the good stuff starts overshadowing the bad stuff. A tier is like where there's a bunch of actually really great stuff. And S is kind of like, yeah, there might be annoyances here and there, but the highs are so consistently high. There are some outliers, like what I just broke down doesn't necessarily describe every single game, but that's kind of the broad like differences that separate them. I still think the Wii GoldenEye, like I'm on the fence. I'm almost curious to how I was reasoning a month ago. I'm sure I was a little bit torn on it, but putting it in B plus versus Quantum of Solace for 360 being in B tier, I think the Quantum of Solace games, looking at those as a group, I make sense of how I rated those relative to each other. But I think there could probably be a case made for GoldenEye, Wii, and DS both being in B tier. But I think we can leave it like this, and we'll see. Like we are gonna go back to GoldenEye Reloaded, and I guess when we play that game, we'll see if I remember enough about the Wii game to be able to tell if anything was meaningfully different, if the controls make it a better experience, or if it reminded me of how dull it was. Or, you know, if I play that game, come back to it and feel like, man, how did I... If I feel even more questioning of placing Wii GoldenEye in B plus than I do now, then we can probably move it. But I guess we'll probably keep it there for now. I don't know. I'm torn, but I also don't feel like I need a B. Like, do I need something in between B plus and B, or do I need a B minus that we bump something down to? I don't know. I mean, it's fine for stuff to be in the same tier, obviously, but the middle finger map, it's a bell curve. Just a little spiky bell. I think we'll leave it like this. That'll be fine. That means that we have only 6 games left to rank. Bloodstone for 360, Bloodstone DS, License to Drive, and Top Trump's Best of Bond for Java phones, GoldenEye Reloaded, and 007 Legends. That means that Bloodstone will be the next James Bond game. And in fact, we can do this and get a quick little preview. 007 Bloodstone stars Daniel Craig as James Bond in an epic original story developed by legendary screenwriter Bruce Firestein. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Players can engage in cover-based firefights, lethal hand-to-hand combat, and speed their way through explosive adrenaline-fueled driving sequences as they embark on a global chase leading to action on land and sea through Athens, Istanbul, Monaco, and Bangkok. I mean, that's like 5 points on the Bond quotient right there. I think we got globetrotting, we got fisticuffs, gunplay, driving. I'm assuming driving car and driving other. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to play this. As I'm done, I'll have to use my knowledge to create the ultimate James Bond game. I don't know, that's a tall order. But thankfully, we've got IO Interactive on the task. I'm very excited for First Light. And I'm also glad that it's not coming out until next year, so we actually have time to finish this proper before that. But yeah. This actually went a little quicker than I had anticipated. But I think we're fine cutting things a little bit shorter. There's not really much point in trying to hop on over here to start anything new at this point. I don't have the next game ready to go or anything, and I'd rather do that on its own stream anyway. I don't really have anything else lined up, so I think we'll just keep things nice and brief today. Thank you once again to everyone who contributed so generously to smashing today's mission objective. We got a whole bunch of points. In fact, where did we end up today? We ended up at 1888. Delightful. That is 3 daily objectives completed, and 1 step closer to the Xbox Live Arcade version of GoldenEye. I almost said the Xbox Live Arcade version of Golden Axe, which would be something.
Unspeakable horror awaits you.
Mimic Box insisting on raising the points even further. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And congrats to Running Wild for the return to the Skull Club. If it sounds like I can barely speak coherently, that's because I'm trying to bring up Twitch to see who is live so that we may raid them. SGDQ is going on, of course. Esports World Cup is going on. It's the City of the Wolves top 8. But you can find your way to those things if you would like to watch those things. I'm going to raid. I'm going to raid Tond Aladdin. Playing the Master System version of Aladdin. I'm not super familiar with. It looks kind of interesting. Always a chill time over there. I should be back Monday. I don't know if it's going to be game spawned. It might be something totally different. We'll just have to see how the mood strikes. I am excited for Bloodstone, but there's a lot of other video game happening, as is usually the case. In fact, I picked up a couple of things on the Steam sale, some beat-em-ups. I got, what is it called? We Could Be Heroes? That's the name of it, right? The insane beat-em-up with the huge crowds. I think I picked up a few other things, so we might take a look at some of that. I don't know. Video games of in some form or fashion will happen on Monday if all goes to plan. But until then, have a nice rest of your weekend. Take care. Thank you again very much for hanging out and for your generous contribution, and I'll see you guys around next time. Peace.